But now, yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
Here's Johnny.
Excuse me? A baking powder?
I want the fairy tale.
Donkey!
Scusa.
What became of your lamb, Clarice?
You lose. Good day, sir.
Attitude reflect leadership, Captain.
Because once a wildcat, always a wildcat.
I am inevitable.
What is up, guys? Dirty Boot Sports, and we are back with another episode from the regulars.
Hey.
We are back with our Apple Music Top 100 albums ranking.
Woohoo!
Or ranking, review, debate, whatever we want to call what we're doing. This is albums 40 through 21. Some very, very good stuff that we've got to talk about tonight.
It sure is
my favorite section so far.
Man, it's been fantastic.
I would hope, for the sake of Apple Music, that each episode becomes our favorite.
Yeah, that's a good point.
As I was listening to the albums, I was over at Chance's house. He was like, "That's some good music." He's like, "Y'all got some good albums to talk about this week." I'm like,
"Oh yeah,
for 40 through 21, it should be."
That's right.
That's true. That's true.
Or there's an issue,
and you go to the next one, and you're just excited, like, yes, I get to listen to this.
Yeah, looking through the next list is pretty crazy.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, we got some albums to talk about tonight. But before that, we got us a little intro topic we're going to be doing.
That's right.
It's going to be, I think Railey labeled it Time Machine.
That's right.
Time machine pick.
You have a magic time machine. You can go anywhere, any place, see anybody.
Woo!
See any artist perform that's dead.
That's right.
Yeah, Railey started off.
Man, I had a lot of trouble with this. And, do you go to Woodstock? Hey, Woodstock, you're knocking off a lot of bands, right? Jimi Hendrix, the band. Just the list goes on and on. But that'll kind of segue me to, I would go back. Number one, I'm going to start off with number one. I'm not going to build up. Number one, you got to see Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, that'd be a cool one.
The guy was so electric, right?
Yeah.
So went out at an early age, so no chance to see him. I don't even know anybody that's ever saw Jimi Hendrix. Kind of that rare of a show. Got to go back and see Jimmy for sure, man.
Yeah.
The next one, though, like I said, I could see them both at Woodstock. I'm pretty sure the band played Woodstock. I'm a huge The Band fan.
The Band?
Yes, huge.
I think I've heard of them. Couldn't name a song.
Yeah, and if you ended up going through the catalog, the night they drove Old Dixie down, that's one of them. Up on Cripple Creek, they were Bob Dylan's band when he went electric.
The
band, yeah.
Well, how old was this?
I'm gonna guess, yeah.
That's Woodstock.
At what point? Like, how early in music do you have to be just be the band?
Well, that's what's interesting. So he's in upstate New York. They're there recording with him, and they just people would see him out and about and say, "Hey, that's the band. That's the band. That's the band with Bob Dylan." It's a big thing. He played acoustic, and now they're going electric. And man, I love all these guys. And just like a lot of great acts, like the Beatles, different people sang different songs. So you had songs by the drummer Lee Von Helm. You had songs sang by Rick Danko, the bass player, and another guy too, Manuel. So really fell in love with all their stuff. Aston, you kind of digging into older stuff. Mm-hmm. Go back.
I've been meaning to get into some Bob Dylan stuff.
Well, skip it.
Skip it. Okay.
Or you can start when he goes electric with them, man, because it's a great vibe. But Big Pink is, I think, their first album, and oddly enough, for the music fans, because there was some discussion about music documentaries. Martin Scorsese, did The Last Waltz.
Yeah,
it is a musical documentary of the band, and I like it. From a movie standpoint, they retired relatively early. They've been doing it a while, and it films their last concert technically, although we know it wasn't their last concert.
Yeah, yeah.
But, that's kind of unique.
Yeah.
Number 3, though, I'm going to go with a guy nobody ever heard of. His name's Guy Clark. And Guy Clark is like the quintessential Texas songwriter, man. I'm talking about, you listen to his music and you'll laugh and cry on the same album, dude. Like, he ropes you in that much. He passed away probably 10 years ago, if I was guessing. And definitely could have seen him at a time or place, not a specific event, but it's like, man, listening to him now, I'm like, I really missed the opportunity. Quiet setting, him and his guitar only, knocking out songs. I would love that, dude.
Yeah.
The Chili Parlor Bar, that's where I would go.
Okay.
Watch
him.
Clay, you
like
want to go next or me?
You go. I haven't thought of mine yet.
Yeah, okay. I thought of my third one a while ago. I think first pick is a pretty obvious one, both for me and just like I think anybody in general. Because, I mean, you're not going to get an experience like this with anybody else in his prime. Michael Jackson.
No doubt.
I mean, if you go to a Michael Jackson concert in the late 80s, I just can't imagine any other concert being like that.
No doubt. I'm going to put you on the spot.
Awesome.
Have you thought about maybe a city you would go see him at?
Oh, God.
Or his bedroom.
Oh, no. Oh, no. We're separating the man from the music.
I don't know what city.
Yeah, maybe Madison Square Garden.
Yeah,
that comes to mind.
What's the video where he's like walks out on the balcony and there's just people everywhere? Is that in New York? That's probably every video of him ever. But
yeah, and it's bad.
There's a specific one I have in mind though.
Yeah, there's one where he hung his baby over a rail. That's what I'm thinking about. And the news media just brought him over the coals, man. That's a good top pick though. I mean, King of Pop, man.
Yeah. Second, I'd say Marvin Gaye. I mean,
hey,
love some Marvin Gaye. I mean, I've never heard a song from him that I didn't like.
Yeah.
He'd just be a great experience, I think.
That's another one. I've never heard of any concert experience like anybody.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Oh yeah, I called Marvin Gaye 78 at the Civic Center or something, you know.
Yeah, I've never really heard of. I mean, you always just hear about Marvin Gaye's music. You don't really hear about like concerts.
There's whatever version of "Got to Give It Up" that I have downloaded is the parts 1 and 2 put together live at some concert. I don't remember which one it is. It starts with P, something stadium. I don't know. Palladium Stadium. That's
Palladium
probably
Stadium?
not right.
I don't know what that is. It might be probably something overseas or something.
It is.
Yeah,
pretty sure. Third, I'm gonna go David Bowie.
Hey,
in his prime, after one of the albums we're about to talk about.
No doubt, man.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's
electric experience right there.
Gotta be. And would you go in the Ziggy Stardust era?
Oh yeah.
I don't know why you wouldn't.
Oh yeah.
You know what a stage show.
Heck yeah. I mean, that's a unique performance right there.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Well, I kind of feel short-sighted now that he threw Michael Jackson and David Bowie out there. Maybe this is a honorable mention list. How Elvis?
Okay,
I think Elvis would be a fun show back in the day.
I've seen you seen the movie?
Oh yeah, it's one of my favorite movies.
You could see the craziness of the crowds with that movie. I think that they captured that pretty well.
And why I didn't put the Beatles on there, I have no idea.
I was wondering about that. Yeah. Well, they're not all dead.
No. And you know, they really did. They stopped touring at some point. They didn't have to. They made so much money making albums. They didn't have to tour. So I guess it's not in my vocabulary as a live show. I know my grandmother went and saw the Beatles, and she loved them, like I talked to you before. I wonder if she was a fan of the psychedelic stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, ain't no telling about that. Beatles would be in mine for sure. Just because, I mean, you think about
it's the Beatles.
Yeah, it's the Beatles and Beatlemania and just like all the craze of everything about them back then was just. I bet it was just an incredible time. You might not remember it if you go.
Oh yeah.
Or you might not know how you got home or if you get home. But it'll be a memorable experience at the same time. NWA would be on mine. I would probably get arrested, maybe shot as a white man, but it would be a memorable time as well. And I mean, just in that point in time in music and everything, and like just that point in time in the world as well, I think it would have just been an awesome experience to. I mean, going back again to the movie, going to Straight Outta Compton, you've seen some of the performances where like there's just cops literally everywhere in the crowd, like begging them not to play F the Police.
Yeah.
They play it, and then chaos just ensues, and that would be an incredible thing to experience. Probably very, very scary, but I mean, you're not getting that experience from any other band or artist, really. My last one, I don't really know. Those are the first two that really come to mind. I mean, probably something like Tupac.
I was about to say, if no one else brought it up, I had to bring it up as an honorable mention, or else I'd be disowned.
Yeah,
that's right.
Probably Tupac.
I haven't heard anything about his concerts ever.
The main thing I hear about him is the hologram that happened.
Yeah.
I forget whose concert that was or where it was. It was in Vegas, I think.
Yeah, I think it was in Vegas.
And they brought up a hologram of one of his shows and stuff. So I'm sure, it was Tupac, and that it kind of goes hand in hand with NWA. Like, at that just moment and everything that was going on in rap and just with the beef with Biggie and stuff, like, I'm sure Hit 'Em Up Live was like you felt like someone might die tonight.
like Kendrick playing Not Like Us at the thing the other night.
Literally. Like, that was I bet it was a crazy time back then.
He played Hit 'Em Up 5 times in a row?
Probably.
Oh, Lord.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah. I'll go them 3.
Well, the last honorable mention I would throw out there is Leonard Skinner, man. I think I'd like to see Leonard Skinner a lot.
There you go.
They died in a plane. Most of them died in a plane crash.
Shout out Joe Dirt.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I'd like to go with him.
That's the only way. That's the only way I ever knew what Leonard Skinner was or how they died. Was from Joe Dirt.
Big fan of Leonard Skinner.
Yeah. Shout out Joe Dirte for teaching the youth. Let's get into this though.
Let's go.
So number 40. What do we have? I don't have the list.
Aretha Franklin.
Yeah.
I Never Loved a Man.
Right,
the way I love you.
Tell us where she was born.
Yes,
you said you got everything written down.
That's right. I fell in love.
Like a biography on everyone.
I did. I fell in love with this album, and they're picking on me because I went and read the Wikipedia page about it and took a few notes down that I thought were interesting. But like I was saying, man,
1967.
Yes, and she had switched from Columbia to Atlantic Records. It was her 10th album. And by all means, I'm thinking that none of her albums were mainstream successes, and she found a sound on this album, and then that's what just opened the door, man. Like, this is
where she swapped from like basically gospel music to more pop or more mainstream stuff.
Yeah, kind of. I think the earlier stuff might have been heavier jazz, kind of maybe jazz-ish or something.
The Apple Music description thing I read was talking about how this was her leaving like just straight up gospel music and going to more mainstream.
Yeah, and this is it, man. I don't know if you guys loved it. I loved it. Move it to the top 10. That's how much I feel about it, man.
I liked it. I didn't like it that much. I downloaded Respect. I mean, that's the song from this.
Yeah.
The others were all good to me. I didn't download them.
Dude, Drowning My Tears, just super bluesy and soulful. Then you had a little gentle piano, and just the whole album's coated in great harmonies. Yeah. You know,
I'm pulling up my review from the movie Respect. Have you seen the Respect?
No, I haven't.
Her biography.
I need to watch that because
I think I liked it. Yeah, I liked it. Cause I get that and the Whitney Houston movie confused because
they hated the Whitney Houston.
Yeah, they were biographies like 3 months apart of black women pop singers. So they're very very easy to confuse. But yeah, I loved Respect. I'm trying to see if I wrote anything in my review about like the switch. We talked about the switch where she went like full into the pop and everything. Yeah, and Aretha Franklin, like, you hear that name, you think, yeah, she's going to be on this list at some point. But yeah, I mean, it's a good album. I don't think it's never going to be my kind of music, which is something I'm probably going to say a lot tonight, and I've said a lot already so far through these rankings. But you got to respect it. I mean,
there you go.
No pun intended. But you do. Like, I don't think any of us are intended to be the audience of Aretha Franklin's music, but at the same time, we all know, like, it's Aretha Franklin. It's really good. Like, that's the end of the day, essentially.
Well, I can't remember what song it was, but she hit that little, what I call, and I feel bad calling it this, the little Mariah Carey high note, you know. And I was like, dang, Aretha.
Probably that Aretha high note.
Yeah, Aretha invented that, I guess. And yeah, you start off with Respect, you end with A Change Is Gonna Come. Sam Cooke tune.
All right, but I say that was not. I didn't know.
No,
it all blended in around. I knew it was around that time period. I didn't know if she did it first or not. I thought Sam Cooke was it though.
Yeah.
Tell you what,
another
looking
awesome
at this
song.
list, just overall, the '60s was insane for music. Like in terms of how much it changed very quickly.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to think, I don't know, I can't think of many movies that released in the 60s off the top of my head, but I think maybe the 60s as a whole for pop culture kind of changed everything.
It was almost like an explosion, right?
Comic books were like changed completely in the 60s too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why we still have most of those superheroes now
that's
as a popular thing.
I'm about to look up 60 movies now.
I wonder what 60 movies were there that were of the Planet of the Apes, apparently.
Yeah, maybe the old one.
Dollars, okay.
Once Upon a Time in the Old West, Good, the Bad, the Ugly.
Cape Fear, I've heard of.
That must be an original, yeah, because they redid Cape Fear.
Yeah,
with,
Robert De Niro.
Yeah,
I've heard of.
Sound of Music, 65, Psycho, Alfred Hitchcock, 1960, The Great Escape, Breakfast at Tiffany's.
A lot of Clint Eastwood.
The Birds.
2001: A Space Odyssey. That's right.
Rosemary's Baby.
Okay, yeah. So
yeah,
60s,
understandable.
big for culture in general.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good point.
Yeah, and I guess you hear a lot more about the 70s. So maybe it was like the 60s. You had the groundbreaking. Yeah, you had the groundbreaking,
and they
stuff.
built on it in the 70s.
You went from like being able to actually sing words in the 60s and actually have like a little bit of color on the film, maybe. And then from the 50s and crap. And then they're like, yeah, we're gonna go full balls to the wall in the 70s. And we also are going to bring in
the 60s. They just discovered more drugs.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was.
That's right. That's exactly
that
right.
Could be it.
The Beatles like, hey guys, y'all ever heard of this? And then it went from there. But yeah, it's Aretha. Like I said, I don't think there's any like disagreeing with her being on this list or this album. It's good music, but I don't think it's necessarily anything we're gonna just replay.
Really?
I'm not going to get in my truck and be like, yeah, it's Respect today.
Oh, oh no, I'm gonna listen to this a lot.
But yeah, check out the movie as well. Really good. I kind of didn't expect to like that movie, and I did. So shout out to Aretha. Jennifer Hudson played her, and she did really, really good. Let's go to 39. Illmatic by Nas.
I was excited for this one. I know.
1994. Yeah, this is an incredible album.
Yeah, game changer of an album.
All all-time rap album for sure.
It was recorded
honestly,
at.
You got the studio and the address. I mean, I'll say I think this should probably be higher on this list, especially just given how important we think this album is and how like significant like. Honestly, what I wrote down was, if you ask me, like if I'm talking to a person I've never met and that has never listened to rap, and they say, "Why do you love rap music?" I would probably play them this album.
Yeah, good point.
I think this is like that. It's that good with the storytelling, like the music itself. Like it's a good vibe. Like everything about it, like some of the stuff we're going to talk about later, like thinking about the Public Enemy or even Biggie, stuff like that. Wu-Tang, like that doesn't necessarily hit for everyone. Like you got to be like a rap fan, and like it's almost you got to be like living in the moment as well. With Nas, I feel like he's just got the style where everyone can respect it.
Yeah, I agree with that. Huh? And the beats are phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure y'all would agree. This was an album I already had downloaded. I'm not even. I'm not the biggest rap fan. I have Illmatic downloaded.
Yeah, same. All three of us had this downloaded before we even listened to it.
Definitely. I listened to like 5 songs just because I wanted to.
I listened to it on the way here, and I'd already heard it multiple times.
Dude, New York State of Mind.
Oh yeah,
great.
Represent.
That's right. And of course,
One Love is underrated.
Life's a B word. Heck great. Yeah. Halftime had a great line that I never really listened to, and I wrote it down just to. I could relate to it.
Okay.
He said, "I used to watch Chips. Now I load Glock clips."
There we go.
And that is completely relatable to my life.
There we go.
I used to watch Chips. I have a Glock. And then
probably mean it in a little bit of a different manner.
Yeah, I think so. And my boy Q-Tip showed up on Memory Lane.
I was about to say,
that's
this is the third album that Q-Tip shows up on.
He's been there a lot. Busta Rhymes
and
he's also on a few albums too.
Q-Tip also shows up in the for one of the quotes on one of the albums we're about to get to. And like if you go to Apple Music's description thing, sometimes they get a.
Who was that?
It was The Clash, which was like a completely random poll for Q-Tip to talk about.
He was on Ziggy Stardust.
He talked about that one
Read
too?
that one in a minute. Yeah.
Oh my God.
When we get to it.
They're just interviewing him about all these?
Yeah, definitely one of
Maybe he was on the committee. Maybe that's where some of these names come from.
Probably so.
That would make sense.
Go
I'm
ahead.
pretty sure Q-Tip teaches a college class on hip hop right now.
No,
that's what he's currently doing.
Yeah, rightfully so. And I love representing.
Yes.
And it like I've said many times, to me a high quality album you put on from front to end.
Yeah,
this one
and
for
you
sure.
don't skip a song, and this certainly meets that criteria.
Definitely.
So yeah, I wouldn't be mad at moving it up.
Yeah,
I think we need to write this down for the top 20 discussion.
I've got it written down
because, in my opinion, this has a very, very fair argument for the best rap album ever. Like, even we've talked some Tupac in the past. There's a couple others that we like really loved. NWA, Outkast, even. This, like, I think just the storytelling, the flow, the voice, just everything about Nas and his style on this album is just. It's at the peak of rap, and 1994, like that feels like a good time for rap music as well. Like everything about this just feels relevant and just iconic. And it's not even like with Tupac. There's so many different albums. Like any Tupac song, it's Tupac and you feel it. This for Nas, his other stuff doesn't really compare to this.
Yeah, he set the bar too high.
Like you listen to the other stuff and it's good, but you listen to this, you're like, wow, Nas was like really at the top of his game right on this one.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely incredible album.
All right, number 38, Tapestry by Carole King.
Carole King.
I was super excited about this.
I had 2 songs off of it downloaded. I think it's literally the first 2 songs off of it. And the rest of the album doesn't really sound that much like those 2 songs.
Yeah.
I love this album.
It was great to listen to. She's one of the all-time greats.
This is one of my favorite albums on the list.
And
I wasn't really expecting it.
I'm like you. I never listened to one of her albums in its entirety. So
I've heard 2 songs from her.
It was super refreshing, right?
She just has so much emotion behind her voice. Like, her voice is so good. This came on whenever I turn on the TV in my living room. For some reason, it like defaults to the smart TV channel, no matter what you had it on before. And the channel that it's set on,
my TV does that
used to be like this weird pop country channel, and that channel is also like 2 to 3 times louder than whatever you have the TV set at for everything else.
Absolutely.
I don't know why. And recently, it just randomly changed to not be country anymore, and now it kind of alternates between like old school like R&B and rock and a little bit of pop. And she was singing I Feel the Earth Move live in a concert, and that was on there.
Oh, wow.
I turned on the TV and I just left it on there till she finished.
Yeah, and that's the opening song.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, fantastic.
That song is beautiful live. I mean, it's great on the recording too, but it was great to listen to live right there.
Yeah, and then the next one's So Far Away, and then you follow that up with It's Too Late, which is another just classic song.
Yeah, It's Too Late and I Feel the Earth Move. Those were the 2 I had downloaded.
Yeah, it's all really good stuff. I'd never I knew who Carole King was. Honestly, I thought she was a black woman.
I kind of thought she was too until I looked at the cover. Honestly,
I didn't know what she looked like, but Carole King, I felt like she's
got a soulful voice.
I thought she was a black woman.
Made me think that.
I thought she was a black woman wearing pearls.
Well,
that's how I had.
I think that's awesome. You know.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd never really heard her music, and I listened to her music, and I'm like, I know about all these songs. So like it's at that point where, and obviously with it being 70s and the 70s on 7, and that I've been, shown my whole life with Dad and everything in the car. I knew a good bit of this. Really good stuff. I don't know how, 1971, how much of a standout was this, do y'all think, in terms of what else was around?
This was
it stayed on the charts hold on, because I've got some statistics. It stayed on the charts 6 years.
Really?
Oh my God.
It
was it's weird that this is considered pop, but apparently this was like a major pop album.
Yeah.
Which for 1971, that's probably about as pop as you're going to get.
Yeah.
So that's what I was kind of wondering was in that state of time, how different was it? If you hear this nowadays, it's going to be like, yeah, it's just
probably because it influenced all singer-songwriter stuff today.
Definitely.
And a couple cool notes about it. You know, it's got "You Got a Friend in Me," and the urban legend I've always heard. James Taylor, her friend, who encouraged her to, you know, sing her song. She was a songwriter, and he's got the "Fire and Rain" song where he's I've been so long I couldn't find a friend.
Oh, yeah.
Well, she heard that, moved by it, wrote this song. It's like, hey, you got a friend in me.
Yeah.
And James Taylor's on this. If you listen specifically some of the songs in the back, he's singing backup vocals.
Wow.
So I thought that was pretty cool.
And then he covered that one, right?
Oh yeah,
that was the one he covered, and that was big for him.
A lot of people, there's a lot of people.
And
that
then
covered that.
Michael Jackson covered that one when he was really young.
Yeah.
No, not that one. Which? Yeah. You Got a Friend. He covered "You Got a Friend" when he was really young on one of his albums. I don't remember which one. And I love that version of the song. That's my favorite version. But I love hers too, obviously.
Yeah, good stuff overall, though. What do y'all feel about it in terms of the 38? Higher, lower?
It could be higher.
It could be higher.
I
Certainly not
definitely wouldn't put it
lower.
lower.
Yeah, certainly not lower.
I didn't skip any songs on it. Tapestry.
Yeah,
maybe my favorite song on the album.
Yeah, that's a good
one. So good. It feels very different from the others, but
do y'all want to write it down, or what do y'all feel? Do y'all feel that strongly about it?
We could. I would be okay writing it down.
Yeah,
if we decide otherwise later,
that's right.
Maybe, but I think it's one to save.
All right.
So far, it's in my top 20 for sure.
I like it.
We got Wu-Tang.
Oh yeah,
woo!
So this is a group that I've been meaning to get into for a long time, and I'd heard a little bit of their music, but not much of it.
Yeah.
And this is the album for them.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, like no question about that. This is an album I've been meaning to listen to for a long time. I'm glad it was on here, so I did. Really, really loved it. Very unique with the whole Wu-Tang. What was one of the intro parts was really funny.
Oh yeah,
but it's just like the whole kung fu theme of it was awesome.
Yeah, you come out and want to be a Shaolin monk for
Yeah.
whatever. You know, I know they did it on purpose, but you're like, yeah, I'm digging it, man.
What is it? From the streets of Shaolin.
Yeah. Their whole group dynamic is very cool.
And I guess they took a lot of samples maybe from an old Chinese movie or something.
Like old kung fu 70s movies.
Yeah,
and
made it cool.
Yeah.
You know.
The Chess Box song, that one has, it has like a 10-minute opening. I mean, a 10 or 15-second opening of, it's just like a movie playing.
Bring the Ruckus just punches you in the face.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's hard hitting. Absolutely loved it, man.
Obviously, Cream. Everyone knew
Cream's
that.
awesome. Method Man's
rules
awesome.
everything around me. That had a weird intro.
It did. The intro is kind of insane.
I would like to know, were they trying to be funny?
I don't know. Intro to that.
I had to go back and listen to the intro because the song was so good.
Yeah.
I thought, well, maybe the intro
just like went. I don't know if I was distracted when I listened to it the first time or what, but then I heard the rest of the song and I like locked into it. And I was like, oh, it's great. And I downloaded it. A few days later, I was listening to it again. And I got to that one. I was like, oh, I remember this one being great. Let me play it. And I played it. And I was like, I don't remember this intro being like this.
Well, I think I wrote the song down wrong. I think is it The Mystery of Chess? Maybe? I don't
The Mystery
know.
of Chess Boxing, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That's the one that opens up with like it just sounds like Jackie Chan talking to you or
Got
something.
Old Dirty B on there, which I love, man.
Yeah.
And it's so unique.
I'm not the biggest Wu-Tang fan at all. I don't necessarily agree with it being this high, and maybe that has to do with Nas being 2 spots below it. So I think that kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
I totally see that.
Like I listened to Nas, and then 2 spots later, I'm like, yeah, this isn't as good. I don't think it's even anywhere close to as good, honestly. Cream is obviously an incredible song, iconic. Besides that, nothing really stands out to me personally. I think it might just be their style that I don't love.
I did listen to it, and I said I don't think Clay's going to be a huge fan of this one.
Yeah, I mean, and I've heard this. I've heard other Wu-Tang stuff plenty before, but given another listen, it just didn't. It's not what makes a top 40 album of all time, in my opinion. Like with so much of this, like in terms of albums, I would want it to be like very impactful lyrics, good stuff like that. I don't really think
they
have
that. I think you just have to listen to it so many times before it gets ingrained.
Maybe.
In you.
And with Nas, it hits you immediately.
That's a great.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Well,
but with Wu-Tang, it feels just more fun. Which there's nothing against that, but is that like culturally impactful? Like, is it significant? Like, yeah, obviously the Wu-Tang Clan was a huge movement in '90s New York, but
it was also a brand new style of rap at the time.
Yeah,
and it changed New York rap in general.
I think so. I think you're right on the money there.
And that's why I guess I kind of get it being up here. Also, '93 feels kind of late though for that. Like I felt like that would have been. To be that impactful in terms of rap, it would have been like late 80s. I was kind of shocked for it to be 93, though.
That's kind of when it changed, though.
Yeah.
Early rap, I hate to say
hearing that as 93 and then Nas and Biggie 94.
Yeah.
Like that don't feel right.
I feel you.
Like it feels like Wu-Tang's a little bit older.
But to me, like early rap, I feel bad saying this, I'm going to get shot, but early rap is a little corny.
Yeah, definitely.
And these guys with their beats and with their movie clips and stuff like that, you know.
Well, you hear Wu-Tang 93 and then what was NWA? 88.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
Something about that just don't feel like there's that much of a difference, and like I feel like something impactful had happened in between 88 and 93, but I wasn't obviously living at that time.
I do want to say real quick, something that drove me crazy throughout this list were remastered albums that had additional songs.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And my wife didn't have a hard time finding the originals, but and this goes into our next album, if you already don't talk about it, but like the Beyonce album, the only one I could find was a platinum edition that had like 24 songs on it.
Yeah.
And there's no clear distinction, like a simple line that, hey, this is where the original album stopped, and these are, I don't know, something like that would be helpful to me. Kind of drove me crazy. And a lot of albums were like that.
So any final thoughts on Wu-Tang?
I would leave them right where they are because I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. I mean, I would understand swapping them with Illmatic, but in this section, fine with it.
I agree. Yeah.
All right. Beyonce. By Beyonce.
2013. I think it was Rihanna. You said it was the sexiest album that we had listened to?
I said that Anti was the sexiest Rihanna album.
Oh, okay. This is the
Drunken Love is
the most sexual album on the list, I think.
Probably so. Drunken Love is insane.
Well, Drunken Love isn't even that crazy compared to some of the other ones on here.
Well, the first thing I asked was like, what did Jay-Z do to her?
Yeah. Cheat on her?
Man, it's just so evident in it, you know? And I did love Drunken Love.
Yeah.
Lil Wayne does it better.
Downloaded.
Lil Wayne does it better with Christina Milian.
I really love Rocket. To me, it had like these.
That was
it was
one
a deep
of the
track, and it had a rock and roll vibe.
That was one of the very vulgar ones.
Was it? I didn't.
I'm
make any
pretty
notes
sure.
of it. And I never listened to this album either. You know.
I didn't. What year was this one?
2013.
Okay.
And of course, we all know what lies ahead. But the first thing that came to mind when I came across, like, wait, Lemonade. This is greater than Lemonade. You know, no disrespect. And then of course.
Lemonade is ahead.
Yeah, my wife told me Lemonade's on there to calm down. But yeah, I did enjoy listening to it, man. You know,
I just don't like Beyonce. That's my main takeaway.
I liked it. I don't think it deserves to be one of the very few albums where they put two of them on for one artist on the list.
Totally agree with that.
Noticed we have Radiohead. That's another one that has double.
Radiohead
discovered
does?
that. Yeah, they're
Really?
they're 33 and 12.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that either.
I didn't either.
So, Beyonce just not for me.
It's a fine album. It's not one I listen to that much besides Drunken Love.
Yeah, I put nothing great, mediocre pop music. Lyrics aren't anything memorable, and they're not catchy enough to be like anthems that you would just like scream. I just really don't understand Beyonce's hype. Like Railey, you're more of a Beyonce fan. Your wife is obviously as well. Like, does she just like, which as a woman, does she just really associate with the lyrics, or what is it she likes about Beyonce?
That's a good question. You know, we listened to it. I know she enjoyed it. We didn't really take many notes on it.
Yeah.
And me particularly, man, I'm a Lemonade fan.
You see, and I haven't.
And that's very different.
I haven't listened to it much.
Ooh, I love it.
And I'll give it a shot for that next one. I've heard a couple
Rayleigh's
of the songs.
Fantastic month of Tuesday Tunes.
That's
picks.
right,
Yeah.
man.
Killed it in
I've
February.
heard a decent amount of them, but at the same time, like, I just really have never understood.
I got
the hype
worried
of
in
Beyonce.
January as to what the rest of the year was going to be like.
It's going to go back
then-
to very bad
and then
for
February,
you.
I was like, oh crap, okay, I'm ready now.
I've had
Oh,
some
we got to
help,
do
man.
those tonight.
yeah,
Today's
we
Monday.
do. Crap. Dude, I set a reminder. Did it not go wrong?
Must not have. So yeah, I would just exclude this from the top 100.
I wouldn't put this one on here.
This is on here, but Ed Sheeran doesn't get an opportunity, so screw this. The Clash, 35, London Calling,
I'd only
1979.
heard a couple Clash songs, probably their biggest ones. What Rock the Casbah's them, and what's the other big one they have?
Well, London Calling, to me, I'd heard that,
What
you
is-
know. And I'm kind of like you. I was excited. It was one of those, like, oh, man, I need to listen to that album.
I wrote down that it feels like they're British, and I'm glad to know that they are.
They are British.
Should I stay or should I go? That's the other big one I had downloaded.
Oh, wow.
Neither of those were on this album, so I was interested in seeing what was on this because I'd never heard any of these before. I think the very... Wait, was that the first song? Hold on. Let me check before I say something wrong. Not the first song. Literally the last song. The very last song, Train in Vain, easily my favorite off of there.
Really?
Have listened to this one a lot. Love that song.
Is that a workout song? Train in Vain?
Nope. It's more feels like a song you just dance around the house to. Like,
Well,
kind of.
I love Death or Glory, man. Like that was.
That one's great.
I want to tell you though, because before listening to this, I was expecting just these punk guitar
punk.
riffs. Yeah,
This doesn't feel punk at all to me.
No, there's horns. It's ska influenced, or maybe I don't know who influenced who, but it's almost ska. Some songs had like a New Orleans ragtime vibe.
I got a
or
little
something
bit
to
of
it.
the Who vibes from some of the songs
But
too.
I never expected
I didn't
them
get
to make horny
punk.
music. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. I didn't. Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. I thought it was good. Nothing that really stood out to me like incredibly. 1979. Like I think you always have to account for the years of these. Does this necessarily feel like significant to 79? I would say no.
I guess it birthed punk. I don't want to sound like an idiot saying that.
but
I think
maybe
it probably did. Because when I think of punk, I'm not thinking 70s.
Oh, look, Aston, I just saw it. Man, what an ending, Train in Vain. Yeah, I guess I'd forgot about that song.
Yeah.
And yeah, maybe it is because it doesn't feel like punk music, so that's why it doesn't necessarily feel like a standout. Because, like, I mean, you listen to this and then you hear, like, Led Zeppelin, 1969. You're like 10 years later, like, doesn't feel necessarily that different in terms of rock or in terms of, like, impact. Oh, here we go, Railey. London Calling reflects the band's growing interest in styles beyond punk roots, including reggae, rockabilly, ska, New Orleans R&B, pop, lounge jazz, and hard rock.
All right.
There we go.
So, yeah, it definitely is. I guess that's maybe just their style was punk, but they were very experimental. So maybe that right there is something that made it impactful and different.
Also,
the album cover is super unique to rock and rollers, you know.
Yeah. Lost in the Supermarket. Weird song. I liked it a lot.
I made the notes about that too. Hold on one second. I'll tell you what I said. I said it had a really fun bass line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It came on, I think I was cooking dinner while I was listening to this.
Ironic.
And yeah. I was
watching guys' grocery games.
This came on and I was like, this is a weird one at first. And I was like, I'm not sure if I like it. And the more it played, the more I liked it. And I was like, all right, I like this one.
Heck yeah.
I don't think this is number 35 all time.
Clamp Down's great. Death or Glory's great. Coca-Cola's great. The Card Cheat I liked a lot. And then Train in Vain's definitely my favorite. Hateful I like
y'all
too.
feel like it's worthy of 35?
I think you can move it down the list.
Yeah, it's got to be on the list.
I don't know
right?
how
I'm
far.
okay with it being on, but yeah, 35 just feels
I
pretty
wouldn't
high.
fist fight you if you put it at 50 or something.
Yeah. Let's move on to 34. Public Enemy.
Long.
Our third rap album already.
It takes
No
a
doubt.
nation of millions to hold us back.
That's right,
Long
man.
title.
Dude.
I mean, that right there is everything you need to know about Public Enemy.
Yes.
that kind of album title.
Dude, this is 88. Okay. This came out a month before Straight Outta Compton. My thought process this whole time was Straight Outta Compton made like gangster rap a thing. This feels pretty close to that, and I don't know how this came out before it.
I think it's more because
It's not as violent or anything.
That was the part of NWA was the violence, and this like.
But I mean,
this was more so talking about like the issues, but I felt like NWA was more calling them out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like this doesn't feel like NWA. They rapped and they were like change it essentially.
I mean, I feel like this is what this was too. I mean, it takes a nation of millions to hold us back. That's pretty on the nose there.
Yeah,
like, you're going after it.
I'm trying to think of the other group now.
Did you listen to this though and get gangsta vibe? You know, I mean, I know that's weird.
I just
but
got
like NWA. It was like you almost got an idea of a picture of the day of the life.
I didn't get it from
on the street, and I got more of a social issues stuff.
Yeah.
They did paint a few pictures. Like there's a Basshead. Let me see what the name of that song was. Night of the Living Bassheads. Obviously, that's about crack use. You know, so and that told a story which I thought was interesting.
What's the freaking movie that I'm thinking of? Spike Lee.
Oh yeah.
What's the movie?
Do the Right Thing.
That's it. Do the Right Thing.
Yeah, this which is one of my favorite movies.
Yes, awesome movie.
Do the Right Thing.
It's about. I mean, is it Public Enemy or who's the band that does the song in it? It's like the song.
Giancarlo Esposito's in that.
Yes, he plays like a crackhead.
Dude, if you haven't seen that movie, you got to see that movie.
Fight the Power.
Yeah, it's Fight the Power.
Fight the Power.
Radio Raheem, right? He's walking around with the boombox playing.
And while the freaking building's burning down.
Yeah.
And there's your social injustice going on, everything, and then Fight the Power's playing.
And then the intro had, the revolution will not be televised, which is a reference to Gil Scott-Heron.
Oh, yeah.
Great
album. That's going to be referenced in a minute.
No doubt. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I get what you're saying with like they definitely covered some of the issues that the same way that NWA did. I just feel like NWA had a lot more hardcore style of doing it.
Yeah, and I think Flavor Flav didn't have that at all.
He's the perfect accompany man for Chuck D though. I mean, it's they go hand.
I
in
liked
hand.
both of them, but Flavor Flav definitely didn't give me like gangster rap vibes from his verses.
I know you feel kind of I don't want to be like he's corny, but I mean that's like that to me. That's the '80s rap coming out.
Slick Rick,
a little bit.
I get like Slick Rick type stuff.
But just start off. Bring the Noise, absolute banger.
Oh, yeah.
And then you go into Don't Believe the Hype, which is great. Cold Lamping with Flavor Flav, which is great. Terminator X had some very unique beats that I love.
Yeah.
There was some time or two you were like, man, this sound here is nuts. But then it goes on for the rest of the song, and you're like, man, 3 minutes of that. I think I could have went to something else. But overall, I respect the guy. Really love Louder Than a Bomb.
See which ones I downloaded from
Called Can We Get a Witness, I thought was interesting. And I wondered if there was a backstory to that because it's about sampling songs. Aston, he just talks about, you can't sue us for sampling these songs.
Yeah.
This is our music. And I couldn't really find anything. Like I thought, listening to it, I was like, oh, they've been sued by James Brown or something. Yeah. But I never really found anything about that. I'd kind of like to know more about that.
Maybe like at that time, that's the beginning of the kind of change in hip hop. So maybe they were starting to sample more, and because it was getting more popular, it was kind of coming up as like a common issue, like socially, like, hey, can you do that? Like, is that legal?
Yeah.
So maybe they were just kind of commenting on what was going on around them.
I think, how much lower is Straight Outta Compton compared to this? So it's 70. This is 34.
Yeah, that gets weird.
I think that right there shows kind of the difference with NWA. Everything about it and everything about their music was not socially acceptable. Like I feel like Public Enemy, they took it to pretty much the extreme without like crossing the line.
Yeah, I didn't really think it was anything abrasive, or I wouldn't let my kids listen to this or anything.
Yeah, like they talk about real issues, and they're like kind of motivational, pushing the community.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they do it just enough to where they could play it on the radio back then, and it'd be cool. While you can't play F the Police on the radio.
No. But I do want to be clear. I give this album a 10 out of 10. Man, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, great album.
I liked it a lot.
And yeah,
but I would be okay swapping this in Straight Outta Compton.
I do agree with that too. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that. And
in terms of
placement,
putting this at 70, yeah, I agree with that.
Probably several rap albums.
Yeah,
I mean, Illmatic. I mean,
we wrote down Straight Outta Compton to be in that top 20 argument.
Yeah.
I don't know if this would be in the argument for top 20.
No, without a doubt.
But and you got to just appreciate the significant.
Yeah,
just the significance of this group and everything in that moment. Watch Do the Right Thing. Yeah. Awesome freaking movie.
Oh yeah, one of my favorites.
Yeah,
man.
awesome movie. Let's go to some Radiohead.
Man, I was looking forward to this one. I'd never listened to Radiohead really, besides Creep.
Yeah, I love Creep, man.
Yeah, Ellis is a big fan of them, and he told me to listen to them before. I'd never really done it yet. I didn't get this one, man.
No,
I don't know. I was hoping I'd really like it. I knew it was going to be something experimental and different. I don't know. It didn't click with me. I don't know.
My argument was, or my review was, WTF is this? Why is this popular? The music sounds cool, but this is not a top album of all time. Why? Like I don't.
What year was this?
97.
No, 2000.
No. I'm telling you, this came out in 97.
No, the other one came out in 97. Did you listen to the wrong?
Hold on.
Radiohead album?
Which one are we talking about?
Kid A.
Oh no!
You did it because there's 2 albums on there.
Oh no! How did I mess that up, man?
See, I did the same thing. I listened to one album, one song, and then I'm like,
"Get that wrong?"
Yep.
Oh God!
So you pulled a me with who was it last time? Talking Heads or someone?
No, Stevie Wonder.
Yep, Stevie Wonder.
I can't believe I did that though. I just went down the list. You sure your guys aren't mistaken?
Yeah.
Wow.
You'll be ready for next time.
I will be ready.
He's one step ahead.
So I am too. Do you know anything from Kid A?
Yeah. Hold on one second. and it's one of those things too. Just like the other album, man. The popular songs are just so game changing, and you've got to put yourself in the time frame because. And I'm no expert. I feel very vulnerable saying this stuff, but there would be no Arctic Monkeys without Radiohead.
Oh yeah,
you know.
Sure.
But I totally agree with that. I've never found a Radiohead album that I could put on from front to back and completely enjoyed.
So this was coming up in your time.
Oh, without a doubt.
What was
man. But Radiohead's super popular.
Yeah, I don't understand why. Like what's the setting for this? Just driving around in your truck, like.
There's a lot of angst in my generation.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. Eminem.
In particular, their stuff just deviated from
everyone else.
Yes, pop. You know, the popish sound of rock music. They had different kind of electronic synthesized stuff going on.
Yeah, that was something that I did enjoy, was that the music in itself was cool.
Yeah.
Like it was enjoyable. You definitely could see like it was very talented. Like it wasn't just random music. Like they put some thought in behind that stuff, but besides that, like there's nothing really to it.
But I'm gonna join y'all. Get this off the list. They don't deserve to.
Yeah. Now that I realize there's 2 of them on the list, definitely take this one off.
The next one's the better one.
Yeah, but it still has the same arguments.
Okay.
Right? It's not a play from front to back.
Okay.
You know. Do listen to it enjoyably. I hope it doesn't ruin your day, because it was one of those, it's like, hey, I need to listen to Radiohead front to back, and will I do it in the future? No.
Yeah.
But their top songs are great.
Well, we haven't talked rap in a while, so let's go to Biggie.
Here we go.
Let me make sure I did the right album.
I don't think you can mix him up.
Well, look, let me just go by saying, when I was a kid, I was West Coast.
Okay.
I was a bad boy killer.
So you didn't like no Biggie.
I really kind of secretly did. You know,
my dad says he like only listens to the West Coast except for Biggie, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, it was such a powerful thing. You're from Jonesboro, Louisiana, and Tupac had you, that you picked a side.
Yeah,
and the majority of people were West Coast, man.
Yeah,
and you listen to Bad Boy. I'm a bad boy killer.
Heck yeah,
killer. And you just felt it, man. So I would have never walked around and told people I like Biggie, but you would hear a song like "Hypnotized" or whatever on the radio, and man, dude, the dude's great. It was a pleasure to listen to this album in its entirety. Man, it's great. You know, even at first, you're like, man, should that be above All Eyes on Me? I see why.
I agree. This is better than All Eyes on Me.
Lyrically,
I liked All Eyes on Me more.
That's one of my favorite albums of all time, All Eyes on Me.
I take Tupac over Biggie. I take this Biggie album over any Tupac album. That's how I look at it. Because I think just Tupac as a whole with the artist and like all of his songs, like all of his best songs together, pulling them from different albums, I think is better. But this Biggie album is very, very good.
There was some lyrics in there.
There's some crazy stuff on this one.
Suicidal Thoughts.
There was some in there.
Some of the interludes too, or like the intros and outros of some of the songs.
He talks about a girl so fine that he loved her dad.
Yeah,
there we go.
I thought that was crazy.
To put it in a very family-friendly way.
The intro from the very start of the album, I thought that was a Marvin Gaye scene, and it was not. And then
produced by Sean Puffy Combs.
Well, well, then it got weird. It's like not weird, but I kind of like to say, okay, it's a really quick life story of a kid, birth, growing up, dad yelling at him, robbing, and I thought that was kind of clever, man. It was a mini movie. Let's see what else I got. Oh, of course, Give Me the Loot, man. What a great song is.
Method Man shows up again.
Machine Gun Funk.
Machine Gun Funk. I put 10 out of 10 there, man. I mean, absolutely, positively, and lyrically amazing.
I'm not.
One
not
More Chance had me blushing.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not personally like a huge Biggie fan, but this album has been the one that's it's always stood out to me to where like. You play anything off of this, I'm gonna really enjoy it. Yeah. I mean, you gotta mention Juicy. One of the best rap songs of all time, in my opinion.
And then Big Papa, you know.
Yeah, Big Papa definitely. Suicidal Thoughts is great.
Unbelievable's an underrated one, I think. That's one I already had downloaded,
but you punks didn't finish.
Oh yeah, Who Shot You is great.
Suicidal Thoughts that's a very good song.
Who Shot You is a remastered bonus track, apparently.
Apparently so.
Wow.
But yeah, great album overall in my opinion. I'm totally fine having it this high. I don't think it's argument of top 20, but I mean probably one of the top, unbiasedly top 5 to 10 rap albums of all time, I would say. And yeah, just you had to include Biggie. I can't name another Biggie album. Is there another one?
I wouldn't know because I wasn't a fan.
I really have no idea.
I might listen to some more.
I'm about to look and even see if
I feel like there's one more that is big.
Life After Death. Okay, yeah, that one's very popular.
Yeah, Life After
Never
Death.
mind. That's the one with Hypnotize.
Oh, yeah.
And More Money, More Problems.
Okay, yeah, pretty big album.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, slightly.
Notorious
Thugs.
A big as a fan of Illmatic that you are, would you move this? Would you switch those?
I'd still put Illmatic above it.
Yeah,
I continue to put Illmatic above pretty much everything. I think this is very worthy of where it's at, and you know, it definitely needed to be talked about. Love the album cover as well. Yeah, great album. 32. Shout out Biggie. Let's talk about 31. Jagged Little Pill. Alanis Morissette.
I hope you liked it. This is a treat to me. This is a 1990s treat, and a little backstory on it. This came out and. Really didn't know about her looks, and I really couldn't tell people I liked a pop girl singer. You know, like singles on the radio, but dude, this one is fantastic. And if you listen to this another one, like what did Jay-Z do to her? Like what happened to this lady? Yeah. And y'all probably know the story. It's her boyfriend or fiance, maybe even husband, I'm not sure, was Uncle Joey from Full House.
Oh, wow.
So that's what birthed a lot of these angry songs on this album. And then she went on to marry Ryan Reynolds.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did not know that either.
Yeah, and when they broke up, I was like, second Jagged Little Pill album, and it never came. They had had a great breakup. It was
Uncle
mutual.
Joey.
Dang it.
What
Uncle Joey. Yeah, what did he do?
They're in Full House, pretty much, right? That's coming on right around now.
Gotta be, yeah. And he was a fixture in my life. He was on a show called Cut It Out on Nickelodeon.
Oh, yeah.
So
That's
she was
joke
on
in the show as well, right?
Cut It Out. Yeah.
She was on Nickelodeon, apparently.
Oh, okay. So
it says 21-year-old former Nickelodeon star.
Wow. That might not have been the name of the show, but he did that gag.
He did that as well.
What
I
was she
love
in?
that.
But guys, let me talk about this because I'm just you start with All I Really Want, which is a great tune. You go to You Ought to Know, again, another great tune. I don't remember much about Perfect.
Hand in My Pocket, great.
Oh yeah.
I liked this. I thought it was good.
Hand in My Pocket is a classic.
It's very much like the predecessor to Avril Lavigne and those type of
I can
singers.
see that. Love, See Right Through You.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I just said music that everyone knows whenever it's played. Like a lot of the stuff you hear,
Ironic's great.
Yeah,
love Ironic.
Isn't it ironic? Don't you think?
I thought it was impressive for it to be 1995.
Yeah, it sounds very early 2000s
Yeah.
pop, and I guess that is what came from this album, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Mary Jane wasn't about marijuana, just so you know.
Okay.
Probably wasn't about Peter Parker's wife either.
Uncle Joey, man, screw him. Why did he do? What did he do?
A deep cut of mine was Forgiven Man. I really liked that. It's kind of like her look on being raised up Catholic, so I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really good album.
I would fight you over moving this down the list.
Oh no, I wouldn't put it down at all. I was absolutely shocked at it being this high because I didn't I knew the name, but I didn't know anything really about the artist.
Yeah.
But listening to it, I'm like, yeah, I get it. So I'm totally fine where it's at. It's cool. I mean, crap. Almost the highest just straight up pop album that we'll see,
except for the next one.
Oh God, yeah. I guess she's pop. Yeah, very very worthy. Any argument for top 20?
I don't know if I'd say top 20 out of what we have.
I think it's perfect.
I think it's good where it's at.
And then you could argue Carole King might need to be above that. You know,
I would put Carole King above it,
but that's kind of
I would
splitting hairs. But
and they're both, given their time and their styles, both significant on their own ways.
That's right.
I mean, that was what 71 and 95,
Yeah,
but they're
25
both
years
totally
later.
different ways of like bringing in new genres of music and everything. So both definitely worthy. Let's go to the top 30. When we fall asleep, where do we go?
I was not sure how to feel about this one. I listened to it last, I think.
Rayleigh, what do you think about Billie Eilish?
I love Billie Eilish, like from a periphery. Like, you know, I had 2 songs off this album downloaded.
Okay.
The song from True Detective. What is that?
I don't know.
Is it Bury a Friend or something like that? Anyway,
Maybe.
but you know, I never had any of her albums, so I was excited to listen to it. I don't know if it needs to be here.
I don't understand her.
Uh,
I'll tell you what, though. Wish You Were Gay is a heck of a song title.
That's cool.
That's hilarious.
That's a good song, though. You know, I don't know why. And it makes me smile.
I just don't get her style.
What a take on a relationship. I just wish you were gay. I mean,
yeah.
The girls say that. Like, I like this guy. I just wishes he was gay. It'd solve all my problems. I love Zanny sonically, you know.
This will be the newest album besides Taylor, but that's a Taylor's version. Yeah. So this will be the newest album essentially on the list.
And one song started out, and she's known for this, right? Just kind of.
No, we had SZA was.
I mean, in this
section.
Yeah, it'll be the highest of the new ones.
Oh, okay.
Essentially, is what I was trying to say that. I've never understood Billie Eilish. She seems like a cool person. I've seen some of her.
Yeah.
I've seen some interviews of her on YouTube actually, where I really like her. She actually she's a big Office fan. And she did an interview where Rainn Wilson showed up and she was pretty much freaking out because she's like, Dwight Schrute's here with me.
Scary album cover if you zoom in.
Yeah, and look, some of the Listen Before I Go is like a little suicide song, I guess. It's not spelled out.
That's everything about her. Is this the one with her eyes rolled in the back of her head?
Yeah, but they're like white and it's creepy. She looks like a horror movie character.
Track 8, it's her baby voice. It was a minute of baby voice, and then it switched over to like normal her.
It was a minute of baby voice.
That was weird. Like I've never heard anybody do that. And her songs will do that. They'll change,
My biggest issue with her music, I think, is she does this thing that I've talked about with some other artists before, where it feels like she uses this kind of whispery tone a lot.
I'm the bad guy.
She you can tell that she's a good singer, but it feels like she never shows it off to her full potential.
Yeah. Maybe reins it back a little bit.
Yeah. It's like she's holding back the whole time.
And that's just just her style. Her style doesn't really play into if
she's not hitting high notes. She's
just saying
loud.
If she's saying some Mariah Carey type stuff where she's just like straight up going for her voice and putting it on display, it would be good.
But I think she could pull off Olivia Rodrigo songs.
Yeah.
Like if she did it with the same tone and everything, I think she could pull it off.
Definitely.
Yeah, but she's dark and mysterious.
Yeah, and she doesn't I don't think she lets her full potential out.
Yeah, no doubt. Did y'all watch True Detective season 4?
No. Is that the newest one?
Yeah.
Dad's watched it. And Chance has watched it.
So it's Bury My Friend, which is the intro to that. And it's a great tune, and it's perfect for that show because it's dark and mysterious.
Yeah, definitely. It's a Jodie Foster one, right?
Yeah, Jodie Foster one. I like this album. Yeah, take it off the list. Not going to fight you over it.
Yeah.
I'll take her out of music, essentially. That's my takeaway. Nothing against her as a person.
I'm going to find you my favorite Billie Eilish song. You can't tell me you don't like it. No way.
Now this next one,
I also have a bad memory. Before we move on, I have a bad memory. I was in college at that time, and my economics teacher didn't understand why she was popular either. So in our 100-person economics class, he played the song, and we just all sat there as he kind of reacted to it.
Awkward.
Yes, it was very weird. this 55-year-old man in a suit sitting here playing bad guy to the class, and we're like, yeah, I don't know, man. He's like, this don't make sense. It was after she won the Grammy. That's what it was. She won the Grammy. It's like,
do you remember the professor?
Who's Billie Eyelash, and why did she win? He was calling her Eyelash. It was freaking Blackstock.
Oh, yeah.
I took him 3 straight quarters. Tribe. Who got the vibe, y'all?
Yeah, y'all know I'm a Tribe fan,
Let's
man.
go.
We haven't talked about rap enough, so let's keep it going.
Yeah.
Wait, that's right.
I know, it's like we didn't have any rap, or we had very little rap in the bottom 50 overall.
Yeah.
And now there's just a ton of it.
Back
so
to
there
back.
we go.
Well, I started a Tribe fanship backwards with their last
the newest
album.
one?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that hooked me, and then I had to go backwards.
And that's such a different album to their others.
Oh, yes. I would state right off the bat, though, I would switch them.
Really?
Completely. Like, I'm that big of a fan of that album. Like,
That's interesting.
To me, that's the perfect rap album. Perfect.
Whew.
I love it that much.
See, and I was all of their old stuff, and then I remember when the new one came out because I loved their old stuff enough. Me and David Odenball, we'd go to school, and we would listen to Tribe.
Heck
yeah. We're going to freaking school in 2018 and listening to Tribe. But we would listen to Tribe, and then we were that excited. We're like, Tribe's put out a new album. Like, it's been 30 years. Like, we love them. So at the time, we were very hyped for it. I don't think it necessarily lived up to what we were expecting.
Oh, man.
Just because of the switch of the styles, and given some of the circumstances, it's understandable why the styles are so different. But now their new one's a lot more like politically important, and like they speak real issues.
That's I think what got me,
and I get that. Yeah, and
it should have won a Grammy that year, though.
Probably
biggest snub in history. That should have won a Grammy.
Was it? It wasn't nominated, was it?
It was. I think it was
probably
nominated. I think they performed at the Grammys too. I could be wrong
about
people.
I think so.
And that really got me. And then they got snubbed. But
Tribe back then they didn't really talk about issues like that. I think maybe as they got older,
I think of them as an issue getter.
But not to the level it wasn't in your face like subtle. Public Enemy or NWA, nothing like that.
I have a weird time like categorizing it, as like motivational rap. I don't know. That's probably not a good way to put it, but I don't know. The rap, compared to some other stuff is intellectual, and I feel like that sounds elitist. I'm not trying to be like that.
No, I absolutely understand.
Jurassic 5 was another band that kind of like that. I don't know, maybe even motivational. I don't know, or just maybe it's just really smartly done. Mm-hmm. But I hadn't got
It's kind of like the same with is it Outkast maybe that we've talked about?
Right.
Where like some of the stuff that Andre 3000 says like just kind of goes over your head because he's just smarter and better at music than I am.
Genius people.
Yeah, you can't just listen to that for fun.
Yeah, and it's not whittled down to the common denominator for people to like at a dance club.
Yeah, you listen to this music and it's with a purpose.
But I'd never listened to this album.
Really?
No.
Until this?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. As big a fan as I am, I had skipped over it somehow.
Oh my god.
So super huge fan of it. I enjoyed every bit of it.
Oh yeah.
It certainly play from the track 1 to the end. Yeah. Fife Dog is great. Q-Tip is great. Busta Rhymes shows up at the end.
His feature's awesome.
Oh yeah. It's just
Scenarios maybe my favorite.
Lyrically.
Yeah, Scenario's their best song ever in my opinion. I would say that. Either that or Electric.
I put that was like a strong ending Scenario.
Oh God, yeah. It's awesome. Have you seen the video?
Nope.
Go watch their music videos.
I've not seen
awesome.
one Tribe Called Quest video.
There's some trips. Scenarios is very, very fun, and Boogin' Out's got a good video as well. Their big thing, I think I wrote it down. Let me see. Yeah, I don't know if it's their best album. I think Midnight Marauders might be a little bit higher for me, and it's also kind of with the Elton John effect to where they've got like 3 or 4 songs that I look at. I'm like, that's a freaking awesome song, and there's like 3 or 4 of them on each album.
Yeah.
So if you put Tribe's work as a whole together,
it's top 5.
Yeah, I mean you would. I would fight for them all day. Now this album itself, I loved it. I love some of the songs on it. The internet's not wanting to work right now, so I can't pull up the track list. But I'm sure y'all got it.
I got it. Yeah.
Yeah, I know Scenario on there. Just an awesome song. Go watch the music video. Very, very good.
Well, I think there's a documentary on him. I could be losing my mind. I think Dave Chappelle did it. I think maybe that's kind of where it started.
Interesting. I love the jazz influence that they have in there.
We got the jazz.
Like just yeah. That blend of jazz and rap is always really good to me.
I'm on freaking Justin's Wi-Fi. I don't know how that happened. That's no random.
Wonder. Shout out Squeak.
Yeah,
thanks for the internet.
What other songs are on here? Read them off.
Excursions, Bugging Out, Rap Promoter, Butter, Verses from the Abstract, Show Business, Vibes and Stuff, Check the Rhyme, Everything is Fair.
Check the Rhyme, awesome song.
Yeah, Sky Pager, What's Great, and then Scenario.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got great stuff. It's just that there's so much of them that it's hard to just go down to this one. So I think I do lean Midnight Marauders a little bit, but it's more so just about the artist itself needs to, the group themselves just need to be on this list.
I agree.
And I'm glad they're this high.
Yeah, I agree.
But at the same time, I wouldn't argue for them to be top 20.
Yeah, no.
But if we were ranking groups or artists, I'd probably argue for them to be top 20.
Yeah.
Because I think they're that good. But yeah, this album as a whole, I don't think is that good. But I'm not going to argue down Tribe ever. So they're a legendary group, and yeah, that's something about them is that it's so different. And
it is.
It's fun. It's like that they kind of just go back and forth with each other. They experiment things that you don't necessarily expect to hear in rap.
Yeah.
And I think that's just what made Tribe a legendary group. Yeah, then if you listen to this and then you go to their 2017 album, is it? Or is it 17, 16, 18?
It's 17 or 18.
Yeah.
Whenever you listen to that, you're like, this don't even feel like the same group.
It's
crazy.
I still rank it, I'm telling you.
But I understand if you listen to it that way and then you go to this, it's totally different.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a Tribe. Let's go to 28.
Tribe, yeah.
Dark Side of the Moon, Pink Floyd.
I was surprised this was this low.
Yeah, I mean,
if you'd asked me what's going to be on a list of top 100 albums, what's going to be in the top 10, I would have guaranteed you this would have been put top 10.
I agree. This is just A +++++ record.
See, I'd never heard of a song off of here.
Really?
I mean, obviously knew the.
I didn't
knew the
recognize
album.
a lot of the names. I will say that I'm almost certain that I listened to this album in its entirety last year or maybe the year before that, and I didn't remember any of it. I do remember whenever I listened to it, I wasn't a big fan of it, and I listened to it again, and I loved it this time.
Well,
and I'm really glad because it's one of those albums that whenever people are fans of it, they say it's the best ever, and I'm glad I can understand that now.
Yeah, you finally get you.
Yeah,
and that's a great musical experience because I've listened to a song 10 times, and you're like, I don't get it, and then that 11th time, it's like ropes you in and gets you.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I've listened to the song in its entirety growing up because they're all hit singles that get played on classic rock radios. Just about every song on there, man. A fun fact, it's just like another urban legend, is that you can smoke a joint and put this on with the Wizard of Oz. And when the line roars 3 times, hit play. And I never really understood that because the album's like 45 minutes, and I'm assuming Wizard of Oz is like an hour and a half or something.
Yeah, I would think
but
so.
It goes word for word, with that. And people have done it and swear that it's great. It's a fantastic.
When the line roars 3 times.
When the line roars 3 times, you hit play, listen to this album, and then you'll just be blown away. I've never done that though.
So what are y'all's feelings of it? Y'all both love it.
Yeah, I got a few things. It's like the coolest album art of all time. It gets an A+ for that.
Yeah, I mean that I obviously knew.
And you got to listen to Time, man.
Times was probably my favorite on there.
They got a lyric from there, and a preacher threw it in the the church sermon one day. Oh. Kudos to him because it's like the only time Pink Floyd's made it to a. But dude, I love this lyric. It starts off, the kid's kind of maybe behind in life, looks up, 10 years is gone. But he says, you run to catch up with the sun, but it's sinking, racing around to come up behind you again. The sun is the same in a relative way, but you're older, shorter of breath, and one day closer to death. And lyrically, I love that, man. I love it.
What song was that?
Time.
Okay.
Yeah. If you were to go back, definitely listen to Time. The Great Gig in the Sky is a fantastic song, and nobody in the band singing. It's like this backup singer. Yeah. And we talked about the other day how songs run into each other.
Mm-hmm. This one does it phenomenally.
This is the classic example of that.
Yeah.
I mean, every song just bleeds right into the other.
So well.
Yeah.
But you don't have to listen to them back to back. You can play them separately, and it doesn't feel like you're missing a part.
I agree, man.
But man, they go together so well.
And on the radio, they'll combo some of them together as they need to be. But yeah, you can listen to them individually, man.
I thought
Money's got a fantastic bass line that I love, man.
I just didn't get this. I mean, I knew it wasn't going to be my style, just because I'm not that into the guitars and stuff like that, and just like it's more instrumental based. I mean, a lot of the songs you have to skip like a minute and a half in until you even get a lyric, and that's just not for me. And I also feel for a top 30 album, and maybe it's just a difference in how I perceive music and other people, but with me, I want the albums to be like, especially this high, I want them to be like lyrically significant. Like I want to be able to listen to them and be like, those lyrics are like changing me. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think what Railey just said was a great example.
And maybe so, but whenever I listen to it, I listen to that song because I listen to all the Star ones for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe I had to listen to 5 minutes of guitar before that, so I didn't care. But I don't know. Nothing about this album really stood out in terms of like a lyrical standpoint.
I got you.
Like listening to this and then listening to going back to Nas, like the lyrics and something like that are just so much more impactful. While I feel like the number one reason you listen to this is to hear a cool guitar.
I understand your point.
Yeah.
But lyrically, this album's awesome.
And maybe it is, but there's no way you think that's the main focus of this album, right?
I think they probably strove for a couple different things. One of them sonically, guitar riffs,
and that.
But definitely, I think lyrics,
we've got Miles Davis in a minute, who literally is just freaking jazz. So there's definitely people where, people will love music literally just for the noises, and that's cool. But for me, I want to listen for the lyrics.
Yeah,
I don't feel like this is an album at all that has the intentions of that being the main focus.
Yeah, maybe not the main drive. It is an album you can play front to back, though.
Oh, yeah.
It is genius.
I think it's one of the best examples of an album you should play front to back.
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, y'all can write this down because it's definitely more y'all's kind of music.
Oh, without a doubt, it needs, like we said earlier.
And I'll give it another listen for that top 20 argument, but.
Took me 2 listens to like it.
Yeah, maybe so. I don't know.
Well, read the lyrics when you're listening to Time, Money, Breathe In. I mean,
because sometimes some of these albums I'll re-listen to a song or two because I listen to it and I'm like, I liked it. I felt like I missed something there. Yeah. Let me listen to it again and read the lyrics as I do it.
And that right there is kind of just goes along with my point to where I shouldn't have to listen. I shouldn't have to read. You know,
I don't know. I feel like it depends on.
It can be
on the music.
camoed in almost. Yeah, and it can be hard to pick
but
out.
And that goes to where like they didn't make this album for the lyrics to be the number one endpoint. Way back in one of these albums we talked about, who was it? Rage Against the Machine, maybe. Were they the ones we talked about where they kind of hid like very impactful lyrics?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Like
so, maybe that's kind of where it goes. Where like. You know, it's just that kind of style where we're going to say important stuff. We're going to say stuff that matters, but we're also going to disguise it behind this cool sounding guitar. So where, you know, there's going to be people that listen to it. You know, if we go and play this for a random 6-year-old, like Nick, 9 years old, he'd probably like it just because it sounds cool and he likes guitars. But you also go and play this to you, and you're like, "Do you hear that lyric?"
Yeah.
So maybe that's the beauty.
You hit the nail on the head there.
Yeah. So and it's just for me, I want to listen to the song and be like, "Wow, that lyric stood out to me," without having to read it as well.
One interesting fact, as you said earlier, the '60s and the drugs. They had a member who took too much acid, permanently left him. Messed up, and he had to duck out the band. Man, he's still alive.
Really?
Yeah, but and he was a driving force behind some other. I can't think of his name right now, but yeah, just got him.
Write it down mainly just because the album cover that alone can give it a discussion in the top 20.
I do love the album cover, man. It's
I will say, Us and Them felt very similar to an Electric Light Orchestra song.
Hey.
Like I listened to it and I was like, I'm getting the same vibes.
That's
here.
a deep cut there that was great, man.
Yeah. That was one of my favorites off of there.
But yeah, that's Pink Floyd. Let's move on to 27, Led Zeppelin. Pretty good back to back right there, huh?
Another major rock band that I hadn't listened to before.
Yeah. Well, and same way, going through this list and people bring out, where's R. Kelly, you know? And then you're like, I'm thinking like, where's Led Zeppelin? You know, where's Pink Floyd? Where are these guys
where's
at?
Where's R. Kelly? R. Kelly, Led Zeppelin. I mean,
yeah, but this is.
They've got some things in common if you look at their numbers.
But this has to be on there, you know.
Yeah.
It's rock and roll at its core. It's bluesy. It's.
I'll say right now, I would accept a top 20 argument for this, and I think it's way better than Pink Floyd. I liked this a lot.
I'm not like the biggest Led Zeppelin fan. Where I
don't think I'd ever listened to him before this, honestly.
But you liked it.
I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I mean,
and maybe it was just the vast difference in styles from Floyd.
I've seen this criticism before. I want to know if you thought the same thing. Who does this remind you of? Especially the very first song, "Whole Lot of Love." Did it remind you of another band?
I mean, I can't think right now. What's the band?
People say Greta Van Fleet kind of rips off Led Zeppelin.
I could see that. First time I heard them, I was like hats off to bringing it back.
Also,
I couldn't get into it because
I thought that more with Bowie.
Really?
I think so.
I didn't get it from Bowie that much.
Yeah, they're without a doubt heavily influenced by
I mean, that Whole Lot of
Led
Love
Zeppelin.
sounds like it could be a Greta Van Fleet song.
Yeah, without a doubt. Like it's
It's pretty.
I can't get it turned me off of them. You know?
Yeah. I like it. That was I asked Ellis one day if he liked Greta Van Fleet, and he was like, "They're good, but they just feel too much like they were trying to copy Led Zeppelin for me."
Same
now
for
I
me.
understand.
Yeah, same for me. And Whole Lot of Love is a great tune.
It is. It's very good.
I put rock in its purest form for sure.
Yeah, it's very much just rock.
And then What Is and What Should Be was another just fantastic tune.
Yeah, I liked pretty much all of that I heard on this, and for it being 1969, that's pretty crazy. That right there,
It was ahead of its time. I think.
that right there should give it an argument. I mean, this is 3 years older than the Beatles. That don't feel right.
No, it's a rocker. I mean,
Yeah.
it is a rocker. Moby Dick is like your rare drum solo.
Yeah,
Which is fantastic. John Bonham's their drummer. You know all about him from
absolutely. Freaks and Geeks, baby. That's right.
So that was cool. And but these guys, you know, you talk about it being a game changer. They got it from black artists. Like
Yeah.
they're listening
Oh, yeah.
to black music and then they do it and then it's like, oh, it's a game changer, which it was. But they ended with a Willie Dixon song with excellent guitar chops at the very end. And I was impressed by that. I was like, to me, it was like they're paying homage to the people that got the sound. You know, I don't know, but it's a fun album.
I think that's the opposite of how a lot of people look at it.
What is it? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
I think a lot of people take this as, you know, they didn't give the black artist credit and they just kind of stole a lot of their stuff and made it popular. But, you know, that happened a lot at that time.
Oh, without a doubt, man.
Yeah, I thought it was. I mean, I thought it was very good. So it's weird that I'm higher on this than y'all. It seems like.
I
didn't
just
like
my,
that.
my brother
Didn't love
would
it.
say it needs to be top 5 because he's like he's
Yeah.
a huge Led Zeppelin fan.
I wouldn't put it top 20, but I'm okay with where it's at, I guess.
That's kind of what
I don't
would
think it should be above Pink Floyd, but
But even not being a big fan, you also think, man, these guys deserve two albums on here.
Yeah, probably so.
I haven't listened to their other albums, so I don't know.
But just given the name of the band, you would
2,
expect.
4, which would just name your pick. Their albums are like Led Zeppelin 2, Led Zeppelin
it's like
3, Led Zeppelin
freaking
4.
Chicago. They go like Chicago 1 through 25.
Does Adele do that? I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Somebody else does that.
She just goes like her year of her age.
That's
I think.
right. That's right.
It's like 20, 21, I think, and 30.
Chicago's bad about it. Toto does it too.
Oh, really?
They got a bunch of them.
Let's move on to Kanye. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Clay, you go first.
Yeah. This is, Kanye's my favorite artist of all time. I'm not even sure it's necessarily close. Zach Bryan's probably closing the gap, but Kanye, I mean, he's absolutely been my GOAT for 5 to 10 years now, probably. But Kanye, this is peak Kanye in my opinion. It's not my favorite Kanye album. I think there's at least one, maybe two that I would put as a personal favorite over this. But this one is, if someone asked me what's the best Kanye album, I would say this.
Yeah,
because I think it's just that good from just a lyrical standpoint, just musically, like everything about this album is different. Me and Railey talked about it a little bit before we started. It does things that you wouldn't expect in a rap album.
Yeah.
Like it's got some pop vibes.
Yeah.
I mean, All of the Lights, Gorgeous, Dark Twisted Fantasy. Dark Fantasy at the lead off song.
Oh yeah.
Like so much of it is just unique, and that it's that Kanye production that just really caps it off. And I absolutely love this. Runaway. You got to talk about Runaway.
Yeah, Runaway by far my favorite song on the album. I feel bad. Is it my theme song? I don't feel like any of the people he describes in there.
Yeah.
But you sing along like, hey, this is a song for the downtrodden.
Have you seen The Night Before Christmas movie?
Oh.
With Seth Rogen, Joseph Gordon-Levitt?
No.
Okay. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's a comedy, funny. And they play this, like those big pianos, like in Big.
Yeah.
They have one of those pianos, and they go and play this song on it.
Play Runaway.
Yeah. So I always think of, whenever I hear this song, I think of that movie. But this album's awesome.
Well, I'm glad to hear it from a Kanye fan, because I'm not a Kanye fan.
Yeah.
Those questions linger. Is this the best Kanye album?
Generally considered, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, just from an absolute,
even when people say it's not their
standpoint,
favorite, people will be like, it's probably his best.
Yeah, and if you would have asked me, what is it? It's 2024. If you had asked me in 2018, what's my favorite Kanye album, or what's the best Kanye album, this would have probably been 5th on the list.
Really?
Just because at that point, Graduation's my favorite. College Dropout's awesome. Late Registration's awesome. And those College Dropout and Late Registration, they're more of the popular stuff.
Yeah.
While besides Runaway and I guess kind of All the Lights on this, none of the stuff's very popular.
Power.
Yeah.
Gorgeous is pretty
Well, I did notice
Monster.
his Graduation album had more songs
Devil
in
in
the
a New
top 10.
Dress.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, Graduation's, and it's more just like radio hits, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But the stuff with Dark Twisted Fantasy, it's like it's just better. Like, I don't know how else to describe it other than it's just made better. It's
the most expensive album ever made.
So it's better produced. This album was?
Yes.
Really?
Wow. How much?
Because of like all the people he had to get on there, or what?
Because he spent a ridiculous amount of time making it in like Hawaii or something, and I've read something about it the other day, and I thought it was on the Apple Music thing.
Interesting.
Apparently it's not.
Each Kanye album different?
Late Registration
or the first two are similar.
Yeah, the first two are Late Registration and College Dropout. They're pretty
Everyone
similar.
after that's different.
Yeah.
He's just like he's just a big artist.
You can follow.
There's nothing else like this.
You can follow his journey as a person and musician through his albums.
Absolutely.
And how they change.
But yeah, this is just, it's awesome to me. I would absolutely put it. It's in my top probably 5 albums of all time. Maybe,
Are you going Illmatic?
Higher.
Are you going Illmatic over it?
See, it's a hard discussion because like
very different.
Yeah, like I said, if someone came up to me and said, "What I want to get into rap music, what do I need to listen to?" I tell them Illmatic. If someone says, "What's the best rap album of all time?" I'm probably going to say this before Illmatic. So it's different. I guess it just kind of depends on the person you're talking to and like what you're talking about. But I mean, I absolutely love this album. I would put it in the top 20. What did you think, Railey, listening through it, only hearing Runaway essentially beforehand?
Oh, well, not a Kanye fan, so, I definitely enjoyed it. Definitely fun to listen to. Like you said, we talked about those pop influences, not in a negative way. Because it's beautiful.
It's refreshing.
It turns into, something beautiful. But, I'm not a big enough fan to sway the numbers one way or the other, you know. I'd have to kind of recruise myself from a vote.
I was just wondering, since you're not, heavily on one side, what's it? Because there's very few people I would say nowadays that don't have an opinion on Kanye.
Well, we talked about it earlier. Did
we say that on air? I can't remember. I was thinking about it a while ago.
I love to separate the person from the music.
Definitely.
If I like it, I don't. You can talk about bananas or whatever.
Bananas.
But be bananas. But it does here lately. I skipped it. I listened to this album last because I for a variety of reasons, coming off rock and roll into that seemed weird. But then I listened to
it's a little bit higher than the other rap albums.
They
were a little bit down there.
Okay. I listened to that next, so that was even weirder. But it does kind of bias you a little bit. But listen to it; it was a fun album to listen to, and certainly would listen to it again. But then, I would even say like Kendrick Lamar. I enjoyed it more, way down the list.
Yeah.
Public Enemy, I enjoyed it a lot more. Interesting. But it could be my age.
Yeah, and the thing with that Kendrick album, which one is it that's on here?
Good Kid, Mad City.
Okay. Which that's still surprising.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that
instead of not.
We're going to talk
Butterfly.
about that.
But yeah, with Kendrick, Kendrick is probably the most 90s rapper nowadays, I would say.
Yeah, well, that would make sense then. Why
you can listen to people like Stacy could probably listen to Kendrick and enjoy it. Exactly, yeah, because he raps real stuff, I guess is what you can say.
Yeah,
and he talks real issues, stuff like that, especially on like To Pimp a Butterfly. But with Kanye,
He talks a lot about himself.
Yeah, but what does Kanye
fame.
necessarily talk about in My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy? Like, I guess it's obviously nothing important to the level of Public Enemy or Nas or NWA, anything like that. It's more just, I really don't know how to describe it. It's just incredible music, in my opinion. That's just my best way of describing it.
For me,
did you re-listen to it, Aston?
I did. So we had talked earlier about this. I think it was off air. I hadn't been listening to Kanye ever since the stuff he said a while back. That was really bad. As in, he went from me listening to him for 280 something hours in 1 year.
Wow.
To me not playing any of his music since, what was that, 2022?
Yeah, it's been a while now, yeah.
So I went from that to nothing.
To zero.
I mean, from your favorite artist ever to nothing.
I don't listen to him. Yeah.
So what was it like going back?
And so I listened to this, and I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it.
Yeah.
And I think partially it's been so long since that happened that it's made it, I don't get as strong of a bad feeling from listening to him anymore. And the fact that this album is just so good that I enjoyed it the whole way through.
It's good.
I listened to every song go through, and I was like, man, this is just incredible.
That's how I feel. Just pretty much. There's so much of Kanye where I just turn it on like, this is just good music, man. Like that's how I describe him.
It is that.
Like it's just really good. And just the production is
just insane on this
everything
one.
about it.
Yeah.
I love it. Absolutely love it. Anything else? You want to move on?
We talked a lot about that, and there's 2 albums coming up I feel like we're not going to talk much about.
I don't know about that. Not with Bowie. But Miles Davis.
How did you feel about 38 minutes of jazz?
That's my review.
No, thanks.
My other review is if pissing your pants is cool, consider me Miles Davis. Shout out Billy Madison.
No doubt, man.
So yeah, that's the end of my review. What's y'all's review of Miles Davis?
Aston, take the lead.
Another
man.
one where I was really hoping, in the same boat as the John Coltrane album, I was really hoping it'd be something I love.
He's a legend.
Yeah, absolutely legendary. I knew his name, knew he was very influential, just in music in general. Didn't love listening to the songs.
Really? I felt night and day different about that and the John Coltrane album, man.
I did like this one more.
Yes.
But
it kind of stayed in its lane a little bit. I feel like John Coltrane, who's playing on this album, by the way, it's like his first album back from kicking drugs and having a rebirth, which I found when I read that before listening to it, I was like, yikes. This might be a classic, a quick listen. I couldn't turn it off, man.
Clay, did you listen to the 11.5-minute song?
I listened to none.
Yeah, it's only 5 songs.
Yeah. It's only 5 songs.
Considering
4 of them.
If pissing your pants is considered cool, consider me Miles Davis.
4 out of the 5 are almost 10 minutes or longer.
I couldn't turn it off. It took me on a journey. None of it was abrasive. I kind of felt that John Coltrane stuff was abrasive, for lack of a better word, just all over the place. I love this, man. The opening song,
I
So
think
What?
I could put it on in the
great,
background
man.
and be okay.
I was doing stuff in the house and it was playing in the background, and that's the other thing. I was thinking the whole time, like, what can we say about this? I mean, did you like in 5 minutes of the opening song the little horn solo? I mean, I don't know how you kind of
great sax solo.
Yeah, I don't know how
you
talk extensively about a jazz album, but So What was great. And
I'm still a rock star.
For a guy who likes lyric forward music, Clay will let you commentate.
I didn't listen. I just didn't listen. Screw this. It's not an album. It's not an album. How about that?
You're moving it off the top 100?
Yeah. It's not my top 1,000 personally.
I feel like with the jazz albums on here, we need to really understand why they're here. We need someone who is very
we need a time machine.
Very schooled in like the technicalities of music and musical history.
Right.
Like how do you listen to Kanye West and then you're like, I think Miles Davis is right above that. like that just doesn't make sense to me.
That is a weird comparison.
And then you're like, I'm put Bowie right above that.
Yeah, right
and then
there.
Daft Punk.
Yeah.
What does this even do?
Well, we're finna hang a left turn.
Where's Q-Tip at?
I'm gonna ask Ellis about this one next time I see him because I feel like he would understand this a little bit more.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
Need someone with like a music degree or something.
Well, it caught me, man. It caught me big.
Top 20?
I respect.
No, maybe 99. But I will listen to this album again and again. And I think it's one of the highest selling jazz albums of all time.
Probably.
So I think it's safe to say if you don't like this, you're not going to like jazz.
Shout out Billy Madison.
That's right.
That's my review.
You got to try out that Japanese jazz.
Oh,
It's
Lord.
just different.
I don't know.
It's different.
All right, Aston, your favorite right here, David
There we
Bowie.
go. I was wondering if you knew which one I was talking about the other day.
Yeah.
When
I knew
said
you're a big Bowie guy,
one
especially because of
these is my top
Starman.
5.
The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars.
That's right.
Is that our longest?
What an
That's
album.
got to be our longest
What
title,
an album
right?
title.
Yeah, it's that one. And
Yes.
Probably It Takes a Nation of Millions is right next.
Yeah, that and Billie Eilish. They're
Yeah.
both right about the same length. But
Man,
this one's definitely the longest.
This is one of my top 5 albums of all time.
Yeah.
Probably listened to it for the first time last year, maybe. But man, from start to finish, I love every single song.
Yeah.
There's not one on here that I think is just not as good.
And I think, too, it was my first introduction to a concept album,
Yeah.
and it's probably the quintessential concept album. I mean, it's executed perfectly. He had this whole persona, this Ziggy Stardust.
It's awesome.
I mean, and Ziggy, he's coming from, he's an
comes from
alien.
space.
Yeah, he's an alien.
There's
The Earth is going to end in 5 years. It's
He's
another.
going to save him with music.
That's right, man. And he ended up getting hit by a car. I think.
No, his fans killed him.
That's what I thought. But in the last song, it talks about some Chevy brake lights coming to him. I thought
Maybe they kill him with a car.
maybe they ran him over. But yeah, he what a great album.
Nice.
It's genius. It's a concept album that works. Some concept albums do not work.
Yeah.
And it'll be the worst thing you ever listen to. and I'm sure you agree. It's another one. Play it from start to finish and enjoy the movie. It's a movie.
Since we got to this section, so for like the last week and a half, I've probably listened to this album 5 times.
This is my first time ever listening to it. I didn't like it, which that wasn't a surprise.
What'd you
to me.
listen to off of it?
I think at least I know I listened to. I mean, I know Starman. It was like 3 or 4 songs, and it might have been the first 4 because I usually always do the intro song.
5 years is phenomenal.
Starman was starred, I know that, and then Moon Age, I'm pretty sure had a star. So I think I might have done the first 4 songs.
And dude, Starman didn't get you. I mean, that's.
I'd known that one already. And
Suffragette City and Rock and Roll Suicide ended. Though.
What a way to end. Yeah,
Suffragette City's. I can't even say it's one of my favorites because I love all of them.
Yeah,
but man, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's one of those. Despite it being
it's
a concept
one of those
album,
you just want to turn up. Every time
and rock out, man.
Yeah.
You can go back and listen to those individual songs, and they're fantastic, man.
Yeah,
I think my biggest thing, and it's been an issue with pretty much all 75 that we've listened to so far. Any rock's just not my genre.
Yeah,
I think I just have a really hard time listening to a rock album and being like, "That's really good rock." When if I just listen to a very average rock album, I'm going to feel the same way I did with one of the best rock albums of all time. I think that's my biggest issue is that I don't like with rap. I can listen to Illmatic and then I can go listen to Moneybagg Yo and be like, there's a big difference in there. Like I know what's really good rap and I know what's just mediocre rap. If you played me the most mediocre rock band you can think of, I don't think I'm going to feel that much different than I do listening to David Bowie or whatever.
He doesn't have a refined palette of rock music.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely it, and it just doesn't impress me.
Oh man,
I guess.
Oh,
this is just
and I know because the rock's your thing. Rock's a huge thing for Aston, and it's just not me. I'm a lot more easy to be impressed by rap or some type of pop music or the freaking Cure out of nowhere, but like. And some of the stuff like Led Zeppelin, like that kind of stood out to me, which was a surprise in my opinion. And there's been plenty more that was rock and it kind of did stand out, but then I listen to David Bowie and it doesn't. So I don't really know what it is, but I mean obviously y'all love it.
And this is It's a weird album. I will say that. Like,
yeah.
I mean, Moon Age Daydream. The first line is, "I'm an alligator."
It is weird.
He's just saying,
and I
weird
bet it
stuff
freaked
on
the
some of them.
parents out.
Probably.
But to me, it's Starman's what really wrote me into Ziggy Stardust. Like hearing that, I don't know. I want to.
Yeah, and I'd known that song already for sure. But in 1972, that's impressive being that old. But yeah, I mean, y'all can write it down.
Aston, do we move it up?
Oh yeah,
you got it.
I could put this in the top 5. I'm pretty sure.
Let's go to 23, Discovery by Daft Punk.
This one, I knew who Daft Punk was. I knew they did Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger just because of the
Kanye.
Yeah, because of Kanye sampling it. Didn't know that many. I think there was one more on there that I knew. I mean, knew of. I hadn't really listened to it.
Yeah.
Wasn't really sure what I was getting into with this. I knew it was like electronic. Didn't have great expectations for it.
I'd known what Daft Punk was, but I didn't really necessarily know what their music was.
I liked it.
I did
a lot.
I did too.
I was really surprised.
Yeah,
Face to Face was.
I listened to David Bowie, and I'm just kind of like next, and then Daft Punk comes on. I'm like, yeah, this is good. So it's just so different with the genres and everything. But I really enjoyed this. I thought it was very good.
It wasn't obnoxious. Like I didn't want to get up and change it, and I finished it. It's just some electronic dance music I'll change after 3 songs.
Any other electronic dance music, I think I would, but this didn't make me want to do that.
But I'm just not a fan of the genre.
Yeah,
and I don't have much commentary on it other than wow, this is where that Kanye song came from.
Yes, essentially.
And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And it's a great tune. That's a great tune. I see why he went with it.
Yeah, it was just this was very fun, as unique.
There is one Daft Punk song I like. I can't think of it. I can't find it anywhere.
Somewhere there's one.
Get Lucky?
No.
They did Get Lucky, didn't they?
Yeah.
Like 2013?
I do like that song. Yeah, I do like that song too. But there's another one. There's a deep track, and it drove me crazy because I spent an hour today trying to find it, and I can't find it.
Get Lucky is very good. I was shocked that, well, one, I knew them because of Get Lucky. That was like, I think 2013. Oh, Daft Punk left Virgin Records for Columbia Records.
Look out. Yeah. Probably had a sonic.
So I was honestly shocked that this was 2001.
Does anybody know what they look like in real life?
No.
Nope. They probably keep it secret, honestly.
I'm sure there's got to be a picture somewhere.
Somebody knows who they are.
But I was shocked that it was 2001.
Maybe it's you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've been out a long time, though, by the way.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, whenever I started listening to the album, I thought 2010.
No, I went back to like 97 or 8 looking at albums and listening.
So that's
to
impressive to me.
Yeah. But then you have to ask the questions of all these albums we've just talked about.
Is this better?
Should Daft Punk be 99?
No. 99?
100? Yeah, 99.
Down there with Miles Davis.
I wouldn't put it that low.
They're in there with some classic albums, though.
I don't think I'm putting it top 25.
I hope not.
You can put it around,
I don't, yeah.
If you put it around 50, I'd be okay with that.
Clay?
I mean, I don't think it's that high, but crap, I probably don't have 20 albums that I would
on
love.
This list that you put above it.
Yeah, honestly. I'm cool with it being here because I think it was fun. I think it was different. And, for the genre itself, I don't think there's going to be anything higher, in my opinion.
That's true. That's probably the best electronic album.
Yeah.
But still, with no country on the list, I'm
good with that.
I'm getting it out of here. I'm getting it out of here.
I just want them to put Zach Bryan on there.
Yeah, give me Zach.
I'm just going to say one more time, we're talking about Dark Side of the Moon. We're skipping.
True.
We're going to
many,
Bruce Springsteen and the Beatles, but Daft Punk's sandwiched in there.
Yeah,
I have a problem with that.
That's when
slightly above Miles Davis.
When I saw the list, just seeing Pink Floyd at that point, I was just like, that's so weird to me. Like even before I listened to it and liked it, I was like, that just seems like
odd.
It needs to be in the top 10.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
very, very interesting.
I mean, find any other list of top 100 greatest albums where that's not in the top 10.
Yeah, I agree.
I think I kind of look at this the same way I look at the Bjork album, where it's so different and unique to anything I'll ever listen to or want to listen to where I want to respect it.
Well, I'd put Bjork above Daft Punk.
Oh, definitely. Bjork's my top 10.
That
I loved it. I've listened to it since, and I still listen to Pictures of You.
That's right.
Shout out The Cure, man. I was watching One Tree Hill, and they mentioned that album.
Really?
So that was cool. I was like, I know
Got
that.
the
I love
reference.
that. Bruce Springsteen, 22, Born to Run.
No hit singles from Bruce. Super excited to listen to a whole album.
Surprised that it's this album?
I'm not the biggest Bruce fan.
I thought it was going to be what's the one with his hand in his back
Born in the
pocket?
USA?
Yeah.
Was it Born in the USA?
But I totally see this because one of the songs that got me into Bruce was 10th Avenue Freeze Out, which is off of this. Yeah. And I wouldn't go and say this is like a concept album, but you can tell listening to it, it's a cityscape. It's early in the morning to kind of late at night. Mm-hmm. And I absolutely, positively, thoroughly enjoyed this album. And I need to go back and listen to all of Bruce's stuff because I enjoyed it that much.
The Boss.
Thunder Road was great. You start out with that. You go to 10th Avenue Freeze Out. Of course, Born to Run.
She's the One.
Good love song. Yeah, right there. Meeting Across the River, man. Deep cut fave. It's these guys, and they're going to make a business transaction. And they sound like screw ups, and it sounds like it never really talks about what they're doing, but he's hawked his girlfriend's radio, and she's mad, and he's going to throw that $2,000 on the bed, and he's going to go for a walk. If you listen to it, I wouldn't even say listen to it because you're going to be like, what is this? Yeah. It's almost spoken word just about, but I really like that, man. I like that storytelling aspect.
I enjoyed this. I thought it was pretty good. I was listening on a Bluetooth speaker, and we were eating supper over at Chance's, and I cranked this one a little bit louder because I was enjoying it. Chance's like, that's pretty loud. But I am surprised. Like whenever I saw this, I started looking in the top 20. I'm like, where's Born in the USA?
Yeah.
Just because whenever you see this,
you knew like, Bruce was going to be on.
Yeah, you knew Bruce was going to be on here, but I did not expect this. So that was a bit of a surprise, but I thought it was fine.
I think all the Bruce Springsteen songs that I knew, except for I'd heard Born to Run, were on Born in the USA.
Yeah.
But I listened to this front to back and downloaded every single one of them.
Yeah, it was great.
I mean, they made a freaking movie, Born in the USA. Or it's called something else, but it's about that album. So
yeah.
And reading about it, this is evidently where he compacted his recipe for like songs. He shortened them, made powerful stories in a short amount of time, more radio digestible or digestible to the average fan. And I totally saw that listening to it and thought, well, maybe that's why I never really got all the way into Bruce is the long storytelling. But this was great.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it a lot.
I'm okay with this one in this spot.
Yeah.
Any argument for the top 20?
Not me personally.
I don't know. I think it's a great album.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a special enough album to get there.
Real quick, though, do y'all like horns?
Yes.
Dude, the big man on this, just on multiple songs, just killing it. And I didn't like horns growing up. And now they've phased them out of music.
I know. I hate it. I always say they should put more trumpets in songs.
Yeah, make music horny again, man. That's what I say.
Blinded by the Light. That's the name of the movie.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see that.
I haven't seen it yet. I've wanted to.
Of course, Manfred E. Mann covered that song and did it better, actually. But, yeah, that's a Bruce Springsteen song. And the band who I mentioned earlier, one of my favorite songs is Atlantic City, and that's a Bruce Springsteen song. But if you're going to listen to the band, and I don't think Clay's going to like them.
You don't think?
No.
Are they rock?
One of the singers is country. He's from Arkansas, Levon Helm, so.
Basically Zach Bryan.
Yeah. That's right. Right beside Oklahoma. All right. Our last one, the Beatles. Revolver.
Just fantastic. I mean, it's 10 out of 10.
Are we surprised that this makes it as the second Beatles album instead of Sgt. Pepper's?
I'm surprised based off of just what I knew before listening to them.
Well, I can see you can make an argument for any Beatles album, even early Beatles album. You could say, "Hey, this needs to be."
What is it? One? Is that one of them? Is it called One?
You got Rubber Soul. You got that.
Sgt. Pepper's.
Sgt. Pepper's, which is probably my favorite.
I'm surprised Sgt. Pepper's was not on here.
Yeah. But
is it called One? Where I think it's red with just a yellow one, huh?
I know what you're talking about. I don't know the name of it. It might be one.
It's tripping again.
Is that their greatest hit?
Maybe it might be
Ones or something. I don't know.
But
it's probably their number one hits. That's probably what that is.
Possibly.
Well, let's go to their discography real quick. But right off the top of my head, man, you got Taxman. That's fantastic.
Okay.
fantastic.
Did you realize what that was?
What do you mean?
What it's playing on?
No, completely went over my head.
I listened to it and I was like, this sounds like the Adam West Batman theme song. Cause like no Taxman, and I was like,
no way, bud.
Batman, and I was like, wait, when did this come out? 1966. That show came out in 1966. I was like, that's a really weird coincidence.
Yeah.
And so I
Did you
looked
find
it up.
internet proof?
This song was based on that theme song, which is so random.
That is random.
Why? I don't know why they did that. But
I've
that's
listened to
so
Taxman
interesting.
100 times and watched that Batman growing up and never put two and two together.
I
never
immediately thought that, and I was like, what?
Yeah, one's totally just an album with the greatest hits.
Did you like Taxman? Do you like Taxman?
I did.
Yeah. Eleanor Rigby.
We talked about
Great song.
Whoa.
Very first episode. We talked about how I liked a couple Beatles songs. Wasn't a big Beatles guy. You said one day you'll be a Beatles fan.
Oh yeah.
I like this album a whole lot.
Hey,
all the way through.
We all live in a yellow
submarine. I think a little fun fact about that. I think they're only hit with Ringo singing.
I said something,
and maybe he doesn't even sing a lot. Maybe it's the only song he sung on. I'm not real sure about that. Somebody had to fact
that's
check
the only
me,
lead vocals one for him.
And that's a great tune, man.
Yellow Submarine.
Yeah, I love that, man.
Who doesn't love it?
Hard
Day's Night's such a good album as well.
I was talking to my mom about the Beatles day before yesterday. I just asked her if she liked them, and she's like, "No, not really." And I said something about I was a big fan of. I might have my favorite Beatles not in the order of anyone else. I feel like everybody else thinks John Lennon is like the best one.
I don't have an opinion, honestly, but I mean, I think Lennon's the most popular.
Really, do you think John Lennon is usually people's favorite?
That's a good question, man. I don't know. You know, I would have guessed Paul McCartney. I would have guessed
John
but John Lennon came out and said like the Beatles were bigger than Jesus, and that created a huge backlash.
Yeah. But as part of the band,
and are we going on looks?
as part of the band, like his contributions.
Oh, his contribution.
Like he's usually the biggest one, I would think.
Yeah, I would like to see a breakdown on that. I would like to see a but they were both equally.
It would probably be Lennon, McCartney,
George
Harrison, and Ringo. Yeah.
For me, George Harrison's by far my favorite of them. I love George Harrison and his solo work.
Yeah.
Because All Things Must Pass, phenomenal album.
Yeah, I agree.
What's the one with it has the blue one with him playing the guitar. What is that called? It's something weird.
When speaking of songs, man, While My Guitar Gently Weeps is just like
yeah.
Don't sleep on John Lennon's solo stuff though.
You see, I've never listened to any of their
Cloud
solos.
9.
It's
Cloud
a
9,
little
that
strange.
Album. Cloud 9 is the George Harrison album.
Yeah.
But
see,
both of those are great.
I see them all as equals because even Ringo is like regarded as one of the greatest drummers of all time.
Well, I was telling my mom, I was like, I love George Harrison.
Yeah.
I like what I've heard of Paul McCartney's stuff. I like his contribution to the Beatles. I like some of his solo stuff that I've heard. John Lennon, I'm kind of whatever on. I haven't been a huge fan of anything solo I've heard from him.
Yeah.
And before this, I didn't really care for a lot of Beatles stuff, so wasn't a huge fan of him. And I was like, and I don't know what Ringo does.
Yeah.
So that's my opinion on Ringo. I was
that's right.
I don't know what his contribution is. Besides, I know he plays the drums, but
and he doesn't overplay the drums, and that's what kind of makes him good. His feels are described as like perfect, you know. But I hold him in high regard, all of them across the board, man.
Yeah. See, I've never listened to a single song by any of them solo.
I just listen to some George Harrison stuff.
I'm telling you, John Lennon too, man.
I just really love the Beatles. But in terms of, and honestly, I've never sat there and listened hard enough to, digest it in terms of like which one I prefer of the people.
It's very hard for me to tell who's who listening to the Beatles as a group.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and
if I listened to them more, I probably could.
You can because it's. There's several bands that have multiple lead singers, like we talked about. The band Drive By Truckers does, and I love that so much that the alternation between the two, like, hey, here's George Harrison, here's Paul McCartney, here's John Lennon. It's almost refreshing for some reason.
Yeah. Have you listened to anything from the Traveling Wilburys?
Oh yeah, man.
Oh my God,
I grew up on them.
What a
man.
group right there!
I grew up on them. That's a super group, man.
Yeah, and
George Harrison,
I started
Tom
listening.
Petty,
Bob
Orbison.
Dylan, Roy Orbison,
Yeah.
and John Lynn from Electric Light Orchestra.
No, that
Jeff
ain't his
Lynne,
name.
Jeff
Jeff
Lynne.
Lynne. Jeff Lynne. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's nuts,
I mean,
man.
dude, that's a crazy group right there.
What was y'all's favorite song off this album? What did y'all like?
Eleanor Rigby was up there.
Yellow Submarine's just
Here, There, and Everywhere
iconic.
was up there. Here, There, and Everywhere gets
Great song.
There's part of it that's it's not sampled, but it's like resung on an album we're going to talk about on the next episode.
Heck yeah.
And I've got it written down so I can bring it back up.
Well, you remember I told you I'm going through the Beatles back catalog. I didn't get to listen to everything up to this album because I was just curious when they started taking a psychedelic twist.
got to be Sgt. Pepper's, huh?
Well, this Sgt. Pepper's is after this.
Yeah.
I'm almost certain.
Well, yeah, and Yellow Submarine is.
Yeah, this album had a couple songs that had that psychedelic influence on it. I think it's I'm Only Sleeping a Little or something like that I first picked up on it. Then they had the Indian tune, you know, which is
that one came out of nowhere.
Their
I was
love
like,
for
whoa.
Indian music is bizarre, you know, kind of. I mean, definitely, I've never heard anybody else have sitars on their albums. But, so it's different. I respect it, but
Got to Get You Into My Life I liked a lot,
great.
too.
That was a great song, man.
So, Aston, have you listened to Abbey Road?
No, I have not. So
Oh,
I'm
Jesus.
anticipating that one now. Because before, I was like, okay, I know it's super popular. I see why it's up there. But I wasn't really a Beatles fan. So I was like, we'll see what happens.
Right.
Well, now I have a Beatles album that I really like.
So
now we'll see what I think about this
I think you'd like A Hard Day's Night a lot.
I've listened to some of the ones on there.
I
know the title song off of there.
I can tell you
Been working
what,
like a dog.
what they did is it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's like every album is a play from front to back. There's no skip over songs. And I thought the early Beatles, I was like, I'm not gonna like this. You know, like early Elvis. Early Elvis is kind of like, ugh. No, it's great. It's all fantastic.
It's awesome looking through the track list of each album and just being like, wow.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
I think it's going to be interesting.
And one year they made like 3 albums.
If I go back to these lists that Clay's pulling up right now and see who's the lead vocals, see if the ones I just named are the ones that are my favorites.
Yeah. It's going to be funny when you're like, oh, that song's a John Lennon song.
Oh, maybe I love John Lennon.
Yeah.
Hard Day's Night is Lennon with McCartney.
There's a lot of great Beatles documentaries out there.
Can't Buy Me Love. I love that song.
Yeah, that's one I liked before I started listening to this.
Freaking Come Together, though.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's Lennon.
That's Lennon.
And then
I think
Here Comes the Sun.
Come
is
Together has
Harrison.
been a little bit tainted for me because they used it and like remixed it for the 2017 Justice League movie with all the trailers. And I heard it like a million times. And
that'll do it for you.
But yeah, there's so much of the Beatles that's just freaking incredible.
Do we move into top 20?
This one, I would say no.
Yeah. Perfect spot.
I think, I don't think there's enough. I don't think there's enough that stand out. Because honestly, I don't think this is the second best Beatles album. So I don't think we can put it in the top 20.
I hope it's not because I need to listen to more. And if they're better than this,
I think there's.
I'll be happy.
Oh, dude, your world is going to change.
I would say Please Please Me, their first album. I think that's probably better. It's got Twist and Shout on there.
Dude,
that's iconic.
That's John Lennon.
Hard Day's Night, Rubber Soul.
Rubber Soul, I've listened to, what is it, Drive My Car or something? Is that on there?
Let's see.
I would say maybe every Beatles album
could have made this
should
top 100
be in the top 20.
That's how good they are. And that's insane to say.
I really expected that. I really expected like 1 through 10 to be 3 different Beatles albums.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been, and I wouldn't have like even blinked at it.
No.
Drive My Car's on there. Yeah, I mean, there's
If
so
I needed
much.
someone,
Norwegian
sang
Wood
by
is
Harrison sounds like something I'll love. So I need to listen to that for sure.
All right. Well, that's our 40 through 21.
Heck yeah.
It
was fun.
We got some good stuff coming up for the
You
next
wore the
group.
wrong shirt today. You needed that next episode.
Well, I thought we were doing the...
I listened to it too. I listened to it too.
I thought we were doing that. And I told my wife when I put my shirt on, I was like, I'm putting my Beach Boys shirt on. And she was like, yeah, that's perfect.
No, that's number 20. That'll be our lead off for next episode.
Dang it. Listen to the wrong Radiohead album and wore my
Wear it again.
Beach Boys shirt.
Clay texted me earlier. It was like, Aston, you said you listened to Beach Boys? And I said, yeah. He's like, not on this section.
Yeah, I was making
like,
sure he didn't
right.
text. I was making sure he didn't listen to 20 through 1. I was like, you didn't do the top 20, did you?
Well, I would like to say too. At one time, were we going to do all of them at one time?
Yeah, we started off. We said,
Wow.
we're probably going to do all
fun.
these in one episode, or maybe 2 episodes.
50.
Yeah, maybe top 50.
Well, this
I'm
was
so glad we didn't do
no,
that.
20's been
this was
digestible.
2 hours.
And you could argue 10 at this point. You know, I don't think we should. I think we keep it 20 continuity, but you could argue 10 hours.
I mean,
less than
for
twice.
me,
20
looking-
albums a week is crazy. I was thinking about that earlier today.
It
I was
really
like,
is.
How have we been? I mean, it's been a little longer than a week for most of them.
Yeah.
But still,
Yeah, I
that's
think
a lot of albums.
week and a half is probably.
When I started doing Tuesday Tunes, they were like, "You're going to listen to 5 albums a week," and now I'm doing 20 for this.
Yeah, if five's nothing, you're gonna go back.
Next we're doing the top 500 Rolling Stones albums.
Yeah, yeah.
When
Willie
we get
Nelson
done-
has over 100 albums. We could do those.
When we get done with this, though, after next episode, I'm gonna have like 5 weeks worth of albums to go back and listen to.
Tuesday Tunes, yeah.
Tuesday Tunes.
But I have neglected music. Like there's things that are gnawing in my brain that I have to get back to. You know.
Looking honestly right now, 20 through 11 seems kind of. I mean, I haven't listened to it. It seems kind of.
I don't want to know though. I've barely glanced at it.
It seems kind of down in terms of what we've talked about tonight. I feel like what we've talked tonight's a little bit more popular.
It's
Really?
weird because it has some of my favorites in that.
This was a
section.
great 20. I mean, it was just
This
a
was a
great
great
20. You know. Yeah,
I'm interested.
we might be a little let down.
One of my.
I'm interested.
2 of my top 5s are in the next 10. So.
And this is why we're doing our own 20. We're writing down them 20 because I think it's going to make it.
We're about to get some.
Well, speaking of that, we need to highlight this gets kicked because we got to make room. Step one is to make room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many,
So
how
I
many do
think-
we have written down right now?
20 off the top of my head.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at the end of next episode, you say we go down this.
Yeah.
and
While
start
we
kicking it
while
off.
we do the top 20, we need to listen to it. So we'll do Beach Boys, and then we'll say, like, does it need to go off or not?
I'm kicking the Beach Boys.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
It can be 21, 22. It's out of the top 20.
So yeah, I think that's how we need to do the next one. Is whether it's worthy to stay where it's at or
God, there's some
not.
stuff I'm excited to listen to again.
Heck
This next one.
Yeah, that's gonna be good.
There's only a couple I haven't listened to yet, actually.
Yeah, I mean this is all
Especially in the top
pretty
10.
crazy popular stuff.
There's 1, 2. There's 2.
Is Frank Ocean's music on Apple Music?
Yeah.
They took it away. Like he went off the grid
Really?
for a while.
There's only 2 albums left in the top 10 that I haven't listened to.
Amy Winehouse, I'm assuming.
Yep.
And then
There's that damn
Beatles.
Radiohead.
yeah, freaking Radiohead.
Golly.
All right,
They're back.
Right about 2 hours. I think it's our longest one. I think. But,
Heck yeah.
We just
Yeah.
had too much to love.
Yeah, I mean, it was too much good music we had to talk about.
That's
so.
right.
All right.
Thanks for tuning in, guys.